Good evening. This lecture will be בעזרת השם לרפואת שלמה וברחל בן נסירה, הצלחת Brian and Sharon בנועה, and also להבדיל לעילוי נשמת לוי ליאון לייב יצחק בן פרל, it is your side now, לרפואת טרה בת רות, לרפואת משיח בן אביגיל, and also זיווג הגון לגדי בן חנה, and also למיכל רחל, בת רחל לזיווג הגון, יהודה חיים בן רחל זיווג הגון, יוסף בן סלי לרפואה שלמה, שישתחרר בבריאות טובה בקרוב בעזרת השם, and to the financial success of Elchanan ben Yehudi's bracha, and also refuah for Odelia bat Sarah Bruria, and shidduch for Netanel ben Yechiel. Also, a friend of mine from Montreal, Alav Shalom, passed, Shimon ben Rachma. He actually is Yortzai. He was Niftar Lag BaOmer Erev Shabbos. Remember what happened on Lag BaOmer? So that was basically his Yortzai. You have the same Yortzai like one of the biggest rabbis that ever lived in the history of the world. It's very interesting. He was a very nice man, humble, loving Torah, Moroccan Jew from Montreal. I once had the merit to stay in his house one time, Baruch Hashem. I hope this lecture will help. For sure it will help. I hope it will help them a lot to their neshamot. We read, as you know, I came back from LA last night late. So last night's lecture was supposed to be in Queens, will be tomorrow in Queens. And Wednesday in Fresh Meadow. Same lecture that we do every Monday, only for this week will be tomorrow on Wednesday. Baruch Hashem. So I was in Los Angeles from Thursday until last night. It was very nice. We had a nice Shabbaton there. It was a bar mitzvah Shabbaton, so a lot of lectures in the shul, in the meals. And yesterday I gave 2 lectures, one in Hebrew and one in English, which Baruch Hashem went very well. When you have those events, when people prepare them properly, hundreds of people are coming, which is very good, Baruch Hashem. And then the only thing I regret is that when I make 2 lectures, the first one, there's so many people waiting to talk to you because it's not local. And I have to run to the next lecture and give up the opportunity of speaking to all these people. Be'ezrat Hashem, this coming Sunday we have a special event. Rabbi Ronen Shaulov is coming to New York, famous in Israel. Every 2 years there is a new star in Israel. Usually that's how it goes. Everyone goes to the top for 2 years, then somebody else goes to the top, then you go a little bit less. Why? Because this is the nature of people. They want refreshment. So Baruch Hashem, he is now in his 2 years, Baruch Hashem, and is famous. He's going to speak in Russian, but I will speak in English. So I will be the first one, and then Bezrat Hashem, he will speak right after me in Russian for the Bukharian, Kafkazi, Georgian, Ashkenazi Russian. That it's going to be in Queens, where we normally speak in Fresh Meadow, if I remember correct. No, it's going to be here in Brooklyn, Rabbi Mizrachi, 347 Ocean Parkway, Brooklyn, 8 p.m. I'll be the first speaker. Same thing that I speak from time to time, yes. Okay. All right, so next week we have lectures as usual. We are going to have Sunday with Rav Shaulov by the Kafkazi Shul, Monday in Queens. What time is it? 8 p.m. The following week, we're not going to have lectures. Sunday, not this coming Sunday, the one after, my daughter, Bezrat Hashem, is getting married. So we're going to have all week Sheva Brachot, no lectures. No lectures, Baruch Hashem. So let's move on. We finish with the announcement. We read this Shabbat, Parashat Baalotcha, and this coming Shabbat, we will read Parashat Shlach. The parasha begins with Hashem coming to Moshe and say, go to Aaron and talk to him about the mitzvah of, being in charge of the candles, of the menorah, a menorah of the Mishkan. As you know, Aaron did not enter the Holy Land, so his entire service was only in the time of the desert, which was the Mishkan, the portable temple. And Aaron, Hashem made it up to him, because when every president of a tribe got the mitzvah of sacrificing his korban, Aaron saw that his tribe, Shevet Levi, did not participate in the celebration. And Hashem said to him, don't worry, yours will be greater than them. What's greater? Lighting the light of the menorah. Okay? Once, because the Nesiim, the presidents, in Chanukat HaBayit, when the grand opening of the Mishkan, each one brought his contribution. He was upset. He said, I'm not a part of it. And Hashem said, don't worry, you will have something even greater than them. What is it? You're gonna be in charge of the menorah, lighting the menorah, the nerot of the menorah. You want to see how the menorah looks and how big it was? Next time you go to the western wall, you go upstairs across the street, you go upstairs, and you're going to see in a big glass the original size menorah. They made a copy of the way it was. The menorah that they made back then was miksha achat, which is very difficult to make. Everything you make today, you assemble pieces together. You weld, you put pieces together, it's easier to do. But when you have to make such a huge menorah all from gold, and it has to be one chunk of gold, and from there you have to crave the shape of the menorah. Then you have to be a super, super talented artist. And the menorah Moshe had difficulty making. And Hashem told him, do as I showed you in the mountain. From here we also, that's one of many proofs that we not only have written Torah, we also have verbal information that Hashem gave to Moshe, which is not written in the Torah. Do as you were showed in the mountain. Do as I showed you. And Hashem helped him with the menorah because he could not actually complete it on his own. Then the parasha continue. There's few topics which I will speak few minutes on each one of them. And the next topic on this parasha is that וידבר השם אל משה במדבר סיני בשנה השנית לצאתה מארץ מצרים. The second year after they came out of Mitzrayim, the first month, right, which is Nisan. החודש הזה לכם ראש חודשים, right? It's the beginning of the cycle of the year, Nisan. Sometimes we have a cycle from Tishrei, like Rosh Hashanah, it's the beginning of the year. And for certain things, we count the cycle of the year from Nisan to Nisan. Now Hashem is explaining to us how to prepare and do the sacrifice of the Pesach, of Passover. The sacrifice of Passover. What Hilula they have today, the Chabadnikim? Huh? Yeah, well, it's hard to keep track with all the celebrations there. Baruch Hashem. So the explanation is on the 14th day of Nisan. 14th day, right? Meaning few hours before Leil HaSeder. Few hours before Passover night. You prepare the actual korban, after 4 days you tie it. When they came out of Mitzrayim, they tie it to the bed for 4 days. The Egyptians were asking, what are you doing? They said, we're going to kill your God. It sounds like a joke. You know, you come to the Egyptians and what are you doing with our God? We're going to eat it. Just the answer alone proves that it's not a God. How can you eat a God? They bow down to the sheep. The Indian bow down to the cow. Something that can be slaughtered and be eaten can ever be holy like this? That you think he has some kind of a superpower? It's stupid. Same thing Christians say. The Jews killed JC, killed our God. You killed our God, you genius. How can you kill a God? If a Jew could have killed your God, that means he was never a God. Where is your brain? Not to talk about that it's also a lie. The Jews didn't kill JC, that's besides the point. But regardless of that, this is just to show you how foolish people can be. Baruch Hashem, in India, we needed Corona with hundreds of thousands of Indian dead for them to realize that all their idols worth nothing. So I have a video how the Indians smashed all their idols, and they come with a big tractor, and the tractor is destroying thousands of statues one by one. The cows, instead of destroying them, they can export them to America. You know, we need some meat for Passover and other things. So, on the 14 days of Pesach, well, that's a good question. If they actually bow down to that specific cow, that become forbidden. And you know what? In India, chazakah, that every cow, that's very interesting. You just brought up a very interesting point. So we have to check now when we eat meat that is not meat of animals from India. It's a very good point. But let me ask you this. So how did we use the sheep as a korban if the Egyptians worship the sheep?
You make live things that
Huh? No, we have to say that the Jews own the animals.
Well, I guess you can make live things live things to be avodah zarah.
They make live things avodah zarah.
Tree.
It's a good point. Okay, well, let me just get to the point that I'm trying to make. So he explained to them on the 14 days, you do the Pesach, okay. But there were people that were impure. When you're impure, you cannot do the Pesach. Even though there's a rule, if everyone is impure, all the nation is impure, since there's no choice, the Torah permits to do it when everyone is impure. Back then, not everyone was impure. Some were pure, some impure. The impure people, they could have not participated in the celebration of the Passover sacrifice. So they came to Moshe and they started to complain. Why should we lose on a mitzvah? How do you become impure? Someone from the family died and you were standing next to the body. Or it was in a room. If, chas v'shalom, someone died in a room, no matter how big the room is, since it's covered with walls and ceiling, everyone that is in that room becomes impure. But if it's an open area, like in a street, someone died, if you do not stand 6 feet around it, you don't become impure. Only when you are really going to the radius of 6 feet, you become impure. Purity of the body is only Jewish bodies, not non-Jewish bodies. There is some says that if there is a tent, meaning a ceiling, then a body of a non-Jew also can make you impure. For instance, if you walk in a cemetery, next to the cemetery, there is a tree that comes from there's a non-Jewish grave there, there's a tree next to it, and the tree goes to the street. So it makes like a tent. It covers the grave, and it covers also the sidewalk. And when you walk under it, some say also you can become impure. Now, what is the solution for someone who become impure from a dead body? There's only one way to get rid of this impurity, is ashes of a red cow. So now they did a grand opening of the Mishkan on the first day of Nisan. That's, by the way, the day that Nadav and Avihu, the sons of Aaron, died. In the heart of the party. And everyone is happy and singing and unbelievable. Imagine such a beautiful place, the Mishkan, and everyone is so happy for the first time in history. They celebrate with the Spirit of God in it. Nadav and Avihu fall and die. The two big rabbis, the son of Aaron, both of them fell and died. We have to ask ourselves a question: why did Hashem do such thing? Couldn't he wait a week or two and then take them? What was the rush to take them in the middle of a party? Ruins it for everyone. So obviously, if Hashem, which is so merciful, if Hashem thought that this cannot be delayed, that means there's a reason for it. Who can tell me what's the reason? Huh? What could be the reason? No, they sacrifice Esh Zara, right? But why did Hashem have to kill them on the spot? There's a lot of Mechalelei Shabbat where he kills them years later. Did it have to happen that second? Nadav and Avihu did not make the egel.
No.
I'm just saying, if you have a son, and there is now a party for the class, and you need to give your son a class, you're going to give him the punishment in the middle of the party with all his friends? You wait a day, and then you call him to the side and give him his punishment. You don't mix one thing with the other. So what is really happening here? It wasn't public. It isn't public. The answer is, if Hashem thought it's the right thing to do it, that means it for sure was the most accurate time. My guess is, the same way you can ask, why did Hashem give us the Torah in such a scary event? Why did it have to be so scary? Why do you need siren, shofar? Why do you need fires all over the mountain? Fog, fire, voice of a shofar, the ground is shaking, everyone got so scared and the voice of God is so loud. Why didn't put some nice music, like background supermarket music, elevator music a little bit, maybe a little bit Mozart, no? Put some nice violin in the background, little drums, everyone will clap, would be very nice. No? No? Why did it have to be in such a scary event? The most important day in history, we have to also get scared. This is the happiest moment in history. For the first time, you're going to hear the voice of God speaking to you and giving you the Torah. Ma'amad Har Sinai, such nice unity, everyone is a prophet. And guess what? Everyone died, clinical death, from fear. Their soul left the body. The answer is, I think the message of Hashem is, don't mess with me. That's really what it is. Yes, there are time for parties. Yes, there are time for this. Yes, but don't ever forget that the judgment is strict. Life is not a picnic. You do something wrong, you see in your own eyes what can happen. Even when you're in the middle of actually performing supposedly a good deed. Nadav and Avihu did not mean to do something bad, obviously. They were not a lefty that sell their nation to the Arabs for 2 pennies. That's not what we're talking here about. From them, what can you expect? This is what's happening as we speak in Israel now. All the people that claim to be righties and allergic to the lefties turn to be the biggest traders. Remember, one of them I warned from him 8 years ago. Rav Ovadia Yosef called them Miflaga Shel Goyim. They called themselves the Jewish Home. Rav Ovadia 8 years ago said, Jewish Home? The Goyish Home. Excuse me, Rav Ovadia, allow me to correct you. It's an insult to the Goyim to compare these garbage people to them. The Goyim is 1,000,000,000 times better than them. There's nothing to compare. Huh? Even the worst Goy is better than them. Not to talk about the righteous Goyim. It's a big insult to a Goy that they compare them to such lousy traders who are willing to cooperate with the Arabs who just butchered us all over Israel a week ago and sit with them together in a government. What is going on here? The answer is, now you see there's no trust anymore in anyone. Doesn't matter what they say, doesn't matter what they promise. This fool, Bennett, no wonder his name is Bennett. Bennett, Yerovam ben Nevat. Nevat, Bennett, the same letters. You know, he said a day before the election in a studio live, everyone in Israel watched it live, prime time. He held the paper and signed, I commit to all my voters, I will never sit together with the lefties in a government. Why? Because it's against my belief and it's against my ideology. 4 days later, he was begging them to form a country. In a live signing in a studio, here, I just signed. He got one religious jet pilot, F-16 pilot. He has a needed Yamaka, Dati Leumi, pilot, fighter, righty. They ask him, what's going to happen? Would you sit with the lefties in the government if you're not going to have enough members? What was his answer? You want us to sit with Meretz? I'm a soldier. I've been all my life. Meretz called to the court of Hague to prosecute Israeli soldiers. They called for my prosecution, an Israeli pilot who tried to defend his people from another Holocaust. They want me to be trial in Hague. I can sit with them in the same government? Are you out of your mind? 4 days later, he begs them, let's make a government. This is the garbage politicians that you have in Israel. You have 120. 14 of them are Arab terrorists. So how many are left? 104. That's supposed to be Jewish. Okay. From the 104, 17 of them is Lapid. Worse than the Greeks. Has a mission to destroy the Torah and Judaism. 17 seats. Then you have Meretz. Even worse than Lapid. Meretz is BDS. That's what it is. 5 seats. Okay? That's 22. Then you have Avodah, 6 seats. Same thing like Meretz. Same garbage. 22, 28. Then you have Gans. Is similar to Sleepy Joe. Doesn't remember his name, doesn't remember where he is. In the middle of interview, her name is Yonit, he called her Sarah. Doesn't know where he is, this guy. The sad part is that he was the chief of command of the Israeli army. When you see such clowns, you don't know anymore how can something like this happen. A person that cannot say 2 sentences from his mouth was the head of the supposedly the greatest army in the Middle East. No wonder the Iranians are falling on the floor from laughing from our stupidity. They cannot believe how dumb we became in the last 40 years. Every day we become dumber than before. So Gantz, I think another 6, how many? So that's right there, 34. Plus the 14 Arab terrorists. So we have 48 so far, enemies of Israel. So far. But there's few, we forgot few of them. Who else we have? Oh, this Bennett and his hypocrite friend that call themselves righties, but they are the biggest traders, another 7. So that's 55 people right now, as of now. There's more, I don't remember all of them, that now has a mission. What is their mission? To destroy Judaism. That's it. And I'm not hiding. Oh, there's the biggest Nazi, I forgot. Lieberman. 7. He say you have to take all religious people and put them in a one-wheel carriage. What do you call it? Wheelbarrow. all the religious people, put them in a wheelbarrow and throw them all to the garbage. In an interview, that's what he said. So that's 7. So that's 62. That's it. That's the government that's going to be. 62 enemies of Torah. 62. And enemies of Israel. They're about to form a government. 61, 62. Top. Here we go. We fell in the hand of these clowns. Avadim mashlu banu poreken miyadam. There is a verse like this. Avadim mashlu banu. Slaves controlling us. And there is no salvation from them. One of them, Tamar Zamberg, Imach Shima v'Shem Zichra, she offering now the first rule to the Knesset. They have to vote on it. You would never believe the rule. That if someone will speak to a person that is younger than 18 years old about religion, he will be subject to 6 months in prison.
No, Machzir B'Tshuva.
Huh?
She's against Machzir B'Tshuva.
Against Machzir B'Tshuva. Meaning, if I will speak to a 17 years old boy about keeping Shabbat, they will prosecute me and put me in jail.
How would you know how old?
If Chabad will put tefillin to someone that is 18 years old and younger,
6 months jail.
6 months jail. That's basically what she's offering now. Ask her why for 30 years the Christian missionary speaking to everyone in Israel, including little children, and take them to the Kinneret and dip them in the water. And not only you did not do anything against them, you actually helped them in every possible way. This is the kind of politicians now that will be in charge of Israel. But the biggest danger now is this Nazi Lieberman, that if you listen to his commercials, word by word, the word of Hitler. Word by word. He actually copies speeches. He thinks we're stupid because we don't speak Russian. But they translated that to Hebrew. Word by word. The Jews, they take your money. They don't serve. They're bloodsuckers. Don't let them take over. Look at them. They show the Jew like ugly with a beard and a black hat. That's what he does in Israel.
He's not a Jew.
And he's the biggest criminal, and in my opinion, he's a Russian spy. He works for Putin. And the biggest problem is that he's going to be in charge of all the money. How much money the Arabs ask to be a part of this government, that they can form a government, because without them there's no government. You need 61 seats. The Arab is, I think, 4 or 5. Without their 4 or 5, you cannot form a government. How much the Arabs are asking? Someone wrote today on the news, 140 billion shekel. And they agree. How much money the religious Jew ask? 1 billion shekel. And they destroy us for 4 years non-stop. Bloodsuckers, parasites, 140 billion. They told him, Lieberman. By the way, he hates Arabs more than anyone you can think. Every one of his speeches is Nazi against religious Jews, and he's Nazi against Arabs as well. But he hates the religion so much, he's willing to give the Arabs 140 billion just to get rid of us. This is the kind of criminals running Israel now. Yesterday they published an article in a newspaper in Israel. Nobody can make aliyah. Remember what I told you? I told you that a year ago. They don't accept any application for aliyah. No, nobody can do aliyah. They don't let people come. They're not interested. Why? Because they know almost all the people who apply for aliyah are religious people. Secular Jews don't care to go to Israel, especially now when there was a war. The only one that will come right now to Israel is people with ideology of Torah. Everybody that is not secular or married to non-Jew, the last thing in his mind is to go to Israel. So because 99% of the applications are religious Jews, nobody can make aliyah. They made an article about it yesterday. No aliyah, it's all stuck. That's already from before Corona. But Corona, forget it, they got an excuse now. They don't have to do anything. Everything they ask, you send them, they send you after a month the same request. But I already sent it to you. I spoke to this representative, I gave it to you. Send it to me, I'll take care of it. 6 different people, same thing. Send it, like robots. Why? They do not want us to make aliyah.
Every organization can use nefesh b'nefesh.
Nobody can make aliyah, that's it. It's nobody. Only if you are an Israeli citizen, you can go to Israel.
Okay.
That's it. Nobody can go.
Gays could go.
Gays are guests of honors there. Soon they're going to pass a law that they get a free apartment on the beach in Tel Aviv. 5 million shekel. Sure. Just come.
You think the Rabbi linked the law will pass about the 6 months of jail before
Today, one very interesting happened. Hashem has mysterious ways that He does things. For us, it looks sometimes totally not making any sense. But then after a day or two, you get the point. This anti-Semite, wicked witch, she had in mind to cut the religion completely. They cannot give speeches to people. It starts with up to 18, then it's going to be to older. Guess what happened today? A lot of people got angry. They went in front of her house and put tefillin there. But the best part is that most of these people were people that normally never put tefillin. So thanks to this witch, thousands of Israelis put tefillin probably for the first time in their life. Or actually second time, because in a bar mitzvah for the pictures they do put tefillin. I think in Israel the photographers brings their own tefillin from home. Because they don't even have tefillin. They come, a lefty, you have bar mitzvah, yeah, you have tefillin, what is it? They don't know what it is. He come to a kid from Tel Aviv. His parents are from the university. Those lefties. Bar mitzvah. They only know there's a party when you become 13. They're happy about the sushi. That's it. Yeah. But you ask him, the photographer, you're going to take some pictures of tefillin? What is it? I'm sorry. אני לא יודע מה זה. מה זה tefillin? I have it in my car. What is this? No, I don't like it. No, only one picture. One day you will like it. Let me ask my mom. Mom, I don't know, this weird photographer, he wants to tie me with something. That's how bad the situation became.
They put it on their right hand.
Yes, because of
I want to tell you one thing. There's a woman who wanted to make fun of the tefillin. So she put the tefillin on her leg. The next day she had an accident and she's paralyzed for the rest of her life. She cannot stand on her legs. The next day Hashem made her paralyzed for life. That's what happened. It was all over Facebook. She made fun on Facebook, putting tefillin on her leg. And Hashem told her those legs will be chopped off. Why? Sometimes Hashem makes a point. Why doesn't Hashem do it all the time like that? Wouldn't it be great to blow up all the wicked people as soon as they do something like this on the spot?
everyone will be righteous.
The answer is it will eliminate the purpose of the world. The whole world was designed, the world was designed to have a test. And if you don't have a test, because everyone who doesn't die, then you will never do it. Right? For instance, if a gay man would see that someone who just participated in a scene like this exploded to 1,000 pieces, would he ever go with his boyfriend ever again after that? Isaac, as much as I love you, it's breaking my heart. I just don't want to explode. Wouldn't you die for me? Right or wrong? That's what would happen. They would not be able to perform scenes. If Mechalel Shabbat light a cigarette, explosion in his face. After 2-3 incidents, nobody will break Shabbat ever again. So basically, to force people with a gun to their head to be righteous, in that case, it's not a test. It's not a test. It's true that some people would rather commit the sin once and die. Yes, there are stupid people like that. I met few of them. I was in a lecture in Israel. There was one guy over there, and I became an expert in body language. There was a guy there, and the guy came to me after the lecture and he said to me, listen, I keep everything, I listen to you, I love all the lectures, but I cannot stop smoking. I do everything else, but I cannot stop smoking on Shabbat. I can't, I smoke non-stop. I light a cigarette from cigarette. When the cigarette finish, right away I light a new one. This is the way I am. So I can never keep Shabbat because I can never stop smoking. So I said to him, on Yom Kippur you also smoke? He said, I have no choice. On Yom Kippur, okay, yeah. So I said to him, let me ask you a question. What happens if somebody would tell you that the next cigarette you light on Shabbat, there's a gun pointed to your head, boom! Right the way you get a bullet to your head as soon as you light it. He said, I know it sounds stupid, but I swear to you I would light the cigarette. I swear to you. And knowing I'm going to get the bullet. And I looked in his body language while he was saying it, and I actually saw he meant it. What else can I say to someone like this? No, give me an advice. What else can I say to him? Punishment doesn't scare him. Huh? If I would be his wife, I would make sure to give him in a kiddush of Friday night in a wine to put 15 sleeping pills and keep adding more. You know, and when he wakes up Motzei Shabbos, oh, very nice. Tomorrow morning we have to go to the shul. You would think it's Friday night, but it will be Saturday night. Tov, so this is what's happening now with the lefties in Israel. You have to see how happy they are. They're going to form a government with the Arabs a week after the Arab made riots and called death to the Jews. I don't understand. I mean, people are supposed to have a little dignity, no? How can you sit now with people that just a week ago in their speech say that you have to kill all the Jews and you have to throw them out of Israel and now you have to sit with them in a table and talk politics? Can you make a government with Nazis now? Imagine now Jews wants to form a board with KKK members. It looks to me like, what are you, out of your mind? Even they pay you millions, you cannot do such thing. But in Israel, supposedly everything is possible. That's what's going on. Israelis are sending letters to the court of Hague to prosecute Israeli soldiers for defending their life. Now I'm asking you, the soldiers should ever risk their life for such low life? The soldiers should give them a bullet to their head, not to go and risk their life to save them. They go and save their life, they go and try to blow up the rockets in the sky before they fall on their head, and tomorrow they go and say, prosecute them. Prosecute them. That's what's happening now. You know what it's like? A Jew is about to be put in the gas chambers in the Holocaust, and some German with a good heart came and saved them. And then they go to the court the next day. The German saved me. Prosecute him. What do you think would be? Something like this. Can it be? Apparently it can be. With these lefties, they are the most evil thing in the history of the world. Here in America, in Israel, and in Europe. That's why all these three places are in the middle of a curse now. Everything is falling apart. Everything. There's not going to be marriage institution anymore. All children will be drug addicts. They all will be Democrat lefty with a head that is worse than a rock. And that's the new generation. And this country will have $50 trillion deficit. As soon as a baby is born, he owed the government $150,000 to start. That's it. That's what's going to happen here. The question is, where can we run to? That's what I'm worried about. The fact that it's finished here, there's no question about it. The question is, where can we run to? At one point, we thought maybe we can run to Israel, but it's out of the picture. They don't let you in. So they don't let you in, and even if they would let you in, the situation in Israel is just as bad. Just as bad. So the question is, where are we going to run to? Maybe there's some islands in New Zealand. Huh? Texas? Where is that? Morocco. You know, it's very interesting because I know a lot of people who visited Morocco and they said that they treated them very nice, like the taxi drivers, this, that, all of that. Everybody said the same thing. Now, one person felt threatened in Morocco while they were there. But what can I do? That a year and a half ago, the United Nations made a survey among Arabs in all over the world. And in almost all the countries, more than 90% of the Arabs say they hate Jews. Even though in some of them never saw a Jew in their life. Just from the brainwash. So they all hate Jews very much. One country was not as bad, Morocco. Only 82% hate Jews. Great achievement. 18% of Moroccans say in a survey to the United Nations they actually don't have a problem with the Jew. It's a miracle. Because in every other country, 93%, 94%, probably the 5-6% were just politically correct. They didn't feel comfortable to tell the reporter they're anti-Semite. Not that it's really 93%. It's 100%. But in Morocco, only 82% hate Jews. You want to move to a country that 82% of the citizens tell the reporter that they hate Jews?
Everywhere else is much more.
Oh, yeah? I'll tell you what I think. I think that Arabs, 98% of them hate Jews. That's really the statistic. Europeans, 60% hate Jews. You have nice Europeans that are not like that. Americans, 30 to 40% hate Jews. That's what I see from talking around. There is one guy stood in Manhattan. They made a video. It's actually a very touchy video. You want to have some tears there. He came to the street with a sign. I am a Jew. Would you give me a hug and show love? And we make the world a place of love and unity, something like that. Sign. The video begins that hundreds of goyim walks by, look at him, nobody comes near him. I say to myself, wow. Now what? Not even, I thought 40% hate us. 60% don't hate us. We should be, for every 10 people, at least one would come, no? But apparently, you see, never run to judge. Once the first person had the courage to come and give him a hug, almost everybody came and gave him a hug. That was very surprising. Meaning, it wasn't about, I don't want to give you a hug. I want to give you a hug, but I don't want to feel like a fool hugging a person in the middle of the street.
He's a Lubavitch.
Mayor King.
His name is Mayor K.
Mayor K?
Mayor K.
There's only one problem. Tell this Lubavitch that he made a Isur Doraita by what he's doing. And not allowed to hug every Goya who comes to give you a hug. Good thing he didn't give her a kiss also.
They hugged him. He didn't hug.
Doesn't matter. You're allowed to let a Goya hug you in the middle of a street. It's first of all, you have to be Shomer Negia. Second is Chilul Hashem, and for that there is no tshuva until you die.
He's on Rabbi Reuben's video of infidel.
Yeah?
Yeah.
He's a rabbi?
No, he's on Rabbi Reuben's video of people to stay away from.
But he's not a speaker. Is he a speaker?
Whatever it is, they show videos of him.
Wait a minute. This person is a famous person?
He's a social media guy.
Oh, that explains everything. If he's on Rabbi Reuven's blacklist, then you know he's a Rasha for sure. I don't know him. It's the first time I hear about it. But then there's no more question asked. I have also a list, 16 over there. Unfortunately, I wish there was none. But by the way, there are thousands of not kosher people. I only put in my list people that I actually make a big damage, meaning they're popular. Not every little one that has 200 people watching him. I don't want to put him in my list, not to give him publicity that will make more damage. Those who are already famous, I put them in my list. I get a lot of other ones that people send me clips of them, and I see that they don't have any views. So I rather don't put them in a list, not to have people go and check who is the new Rasha? One time a person told me, you want to sell a lot of your books? I said, of course. He said, make sure all the rabbis put you in cherem. If you're going to be an infidel, and they'll put you in cherem, in one day all your books will be gone from all the stores. That's the sad truth we live in. Because all the rabbis say this one is a heretic.
So my question is it worth it?
This one is a heretic person. And right away people run to buy his book because he's heretic.
Is it worth for Rabbi to say it, knowing the opposite will happen, people will buy it?
Let me ask you a question. Next thing you're going to ask me is it worth it to have kashrut on the meat, saying that it's not kosher, this place, because maybe more people will go and buy it? We have to do what's right. And what people want to do, that's their business. Right? My job is to tell you who not to listen. Why? Because you don't know. Once you're going to know this one is muktzeh, you cannot come near him, he's a big rasha. Then from this moment on, if you do it, it's your problem, not mine. I warn you not to die. You want to die, you want to destroy your soul, go and do it. It's your problem. But you're right about it. That's why sometimes it's better not to say anything, especially for those who nobody still know about them. You know? Anyway, so we move on. This is the situation we live in. If Lieberman will become the Minister of Finance, all the budgets of religion will be all erased to zero. Not 50%, 80%, to zero. Expect to see hundreds of yeshivot shut down. Unlike other people that say cannot be, Hashem will not do it to us, I say it can definitely be. Hopefully it won't be, but it can definitely happen. Why? Because Hashem is disgusted by us. That's the truth. That's why He gave us Corona and killed thousands of us. That's why He gave us the tragedy in Meron and another tragedy in Givat Ze'ev and a lot of other problems. And that's why He got rid of Trump. That was very good to us because we didn't deserve to have him. And He gave us the Democrats. And that's why the Hamas becomes stronger by the minute. Hashem is doing this to us because it's all written in Parashat Bechukotai, word by word. You go over there and you see that everything that is happening to us, it's all punishments that the Torah warned from. Warned from those punishments, and each one of them is happening to us by the day. Day after day, night after night. You're going to live in fear, you're going to be paranoid, the enemies among you would rise, and you will go down, you will lose part of your land, and they'll take it over. You know, even when they don't attack you, you will always be threatened. You know, there is a verse in it's in the words of Bilam. En ham lebadad ishkon uvagoim lo itchashav. Am lebadad ishkon, a nation would live among itself, meaning nobody else would be with them. We will be isolated. We are now very isolated in the world, very isolated. What's the other part of the sentence? Uvagoim lo itchashav. Who can tell me what it means? Am lebadad ishkon, uvagoim lo itchashav. What does it mean? Uvagoim lo itchashav.
You won't be amongst the other nations.
They won't show you any consideration?
Huh?
The Goyim won't show you any consideration?
Now there are two options here. Tell me which one of the two the Torah refer to. Ubagoim lo itchashav, meaning the Jews will not care at all about what the Goyim think or do and want to do to us. I can care less about what you think about me, and I can care less what you want to do to me or what you're offering me. I can care less. For me, you dust in the wind. That means the Jewish nation would look at the Goyim like they are dust. And therefore we don't care, they can bark until tomorrow. Or it's the other way around. Uvagoim lo itchashav, meaning that the Goyim see the Jews like they see dogs and pigs. That's how they look at us. So which one of the two is true? If we are righteous, the first one is true. meaning we don't care about anyone. Let them care, let them curse, let them plan, let them do whatever they want. We with Hashem, we dress the way we want, we will behave according to the Torah, whether they like it or not. If we are wicked, you're going to come to a store in Iran, and you give this filthy murderer, Persian Muslim murderer, you give him $100 or whatever the currency over there is, you try to give it to him to buy something from the store, and he say, put the money on the table. He doesn't want to take it from your hand because you're a dog. And he looks at you like a dog. So put it over there, you put it on, he took, and he makes sure to put the thing. If you get too close, he's going to take out his hand. He doesn't want to touch you. You understand? And this, by the way, after they read in their mosque or in their Quran even, that the Jewish people are the chosen people. It's not that they're denying it. They're aware of the Torah. Christians and Muslims knows what's in the Torah. Supposed to know at least. So you see that they don't have any logic. There's no logic about what they do or what they say. It's all Hashem triggered them. Hashem triggered them. If Hashem wants them to go and make riots on the street, he press the button, they're all on the streets and they do it. I always say that today more than ever before, if Torah is not the main thing in your life, you are finished. There is no way to survive. Torah today, it's the saving boat. You fell from a boat, there's a big hurricane, tsunami in the water, I don't know, waves like Hawaii. You have a tube, it worth $10, but it will save your life. You put it around you, no matter what happens, you don't sink. It keeps you above. That's the Torah today. As soon as you lose it, you're done. You're done. There's no choice. So we'll move on. So now we learn in this parasha how much they love the mitzvot. Aaron, when he see that he was not chosen to be one of the presidents who bring the sacrifice, chalsha da'ato, he became sad and depressed. Wow, I don't even have the merit to bring a sacrifice. What do you care? You save $300 because you have to bring it from your own money, mishelo. How much a goat costs? A lamb, $300. So if somebody comes and says, I need 12 sacrifices, you, and you, he didn't choose you. Today, I just got Buri Hashem. I just got saved from losing $300 and hours of my time. Back then it was the other way around. Why not me? Why not me? The nation, those who were impure from dead bodies, they ran to Moshe and said, it's not fair. The timing of Pesach when I was impure because somebody in the house died or I had to bury them. Because of that I'm going to lose this year the sacrifice of Pesach. Huh? So Moshe didn't know what to do. So Hashem said to him, they're right. Next month, exactly in the same day, they will celebrate when they purify themselves. The sacrifice of Pesach, you have to eat it together with matzot and maror. Matzah, maror, and the meat. You're not allowed to leave from it until the morning. Once it's starting to be daylight, sunrise, you begin to see light, you have to burn the leftover. You're not allowed to leave. You make a list of how many people will participate in your sacrifice. You burn it, you put it on a gyro inside the hole with fire. It must be barbecue. You're not allowed to cook it in a pot or in the oven that we have today. It has to be barbecue with fire, grilled. We have to understand why Hashem has all these strange rules. Who cares? You want to kill the god of the Egyptians? We'll slaughter him. I like it steamed. He likes it barbecue. She likes it fried. There's different ways of making it. What do you care how we make it? Question number one. Second, what's the big deal if it's going to be some leftover? We were 30 people on one lamb. We finish 90% of it. 10% of the meat left. We'll eat it tomorrow for dinner. What's the big deal? No, you have to burn it. And one more strange rule, do not break a bone in it. When you eat it, be careful not to break a bone. Well, what's the connection? Who can tell me the reason for these three laws? What's behind it? So I'll help you out.
Affected by the behavior. The person is affected by the behavior. Genoeg werd.
Nachon? He didn't say anything we don't know. A person is affected by his choices and behaving. But what's behind it? So first of all, why does it have to be barbecue? That the Egyptian will smell how their gods go in flame. If you steam it, there's not going to be any smell. I want every one of these idol worshippers to smell how you burn their god and they can make a beep. Even their own death they can't prevent, just like JC. No, please don't kill me. Don't worry, there are stupid people in the world who think one day you'll save the world. And they don't think how you can even save yourself. You're begging for your life. You can't save yourself, but you save the world. You know. So, I want the Egyptian to smell how their gods become steak. Next question. Why אינו נאכל אלא למנוייו? You have to write in advance who is nominated to eat in this particular lamb. In advance. So let's say I make a lamb, I put Benji number one, I put David, I put all of you here, I put them, I put you, oh, Baruch Hashem, we have a list. I take some friends, children, this, that. I have 30 people. 30 people, they finish the whole lamb. If not, 5 pounds are left, we gotta burn it, get rid of it. Why do we have to write in advance? You have to write in advance enough people to calculate that they will finish the entire meat. And why you say that you cannot leave anything for tomorrow? Because if you give them that option, they will not invite 30. They will only invite 10. So let me leave some for tomorrow night. Why would I give everything to strangers? We'll leave some for tomorrow. No, you can't leave for tomorrow, so make sure that you invite a lot of people. Chesed, hospitality. Very good. Why you cannot break a bone in it? That's a hard one.
That's not how you eat coke. It's like
Coconut
somebody
and
who
broken.
is
Coconut can be broken.
I thought about what you say. Maybe it's disrespecting it, and it's holy, it's Kodesh. Let's see what Rashi says. Nothing.
somebody who's a real.
Someone that was pure and did not do Pesach, what punishments he get? Karet. That's one of the 36 sins that the soul is going to be cut. Someone asked me today, maybe it's better not to say what he asked me. That's it. The curiosity kills you now. I finished your night in advance. He won't sleep until I know him. No, it's not about the person. It's about the topic. It's a little bit sensitive. Tov. How many clouds the Jewish nation had?
6. 4.
No.
Altogether, or
How many clouds?
5?
7. Who said 7? Baruch Hashem, he saved the situation. In Israel, there is an expression called kita tipulit. You know what it means, kita tipulit? Google it. אתה מבין מה זה סימן טוב? Come to סימן טוב, I'll tell you after the lecture what's kita tipulit. I hope we are not kita tipulit. Anyway, so 7. Where the clouds were? One on the south, like a wall, one on the north, one on the west, one in the east, one below them, and one above them. And what happened to the 7th one?
It made the mountain.
He made a great exit in Wall Street. First GPS in the history of the world. Opening price, $300 trillion. If Waze that takes you to Arab territories today was sold for 20 billion, the GPS of Hashem has to be a lot more, no? It never takes you to die. Actually, it saves your life. So the first cloud is actually the GPS and also a fire with it. And it shows you the way. So now, you came to a place, the clouds stop. You know Hashem wants you to stay right here. You open up your tent, everybody fixed his home. You don't need to build a house in California, 20,000 square feet. I was now in Encino. It's not even Beverly Hills. A beautiful place. 20,000 square feet, 10,000 square feet, 15,000 square feet, nice lemon trees. You forget about the world. Different atmosphere. Over there, 5 minutes. Up, your house is ready. Open the rug. Yalla. Finished. Tov, until when? Until the cloud will move. Can be 2 days, can be a month. That's it. The cloud that shows you the way also make the way straight, pave it for you. Meaning, if it goes up and down, you have up the hill, down the hill, you have some mud, water, you have snakes, scorpion. What does he do? You know how they come to fix, before they make a highway, the tractors shave all the hills, fill up the holes. If the snakes and scorpions, they cover all with the sand. That's what the cloud does. It makes the way straight. After they pass, they look back. What do they see? Goes back to the way it was. It's like an illusion. One kid in California told me, do you know about these glasses? I said, what's that? He said, virtual reality. Virtual reality. You see, you don't know what it is. That's the future of the world. I thought, what is it, 3D? We had it when I was a child. They have 3D, you know, like you think the train comes and hits you. So, no, what 3D? This is virtual. You can speak to anyone you want, face to face. What does it mean? I don't know. You say, invest in that. You're going to make a lot of money. Top. I don't know what it is. Definitely not to invest in it, but I don't know what it is. But supposedly it's something big now. Huh? It's old already? It's been around for years.
Yeah, you put it on.
No, he was talking about something new that just came out. So I guess there's a new thing now.
Maybe he's talking about AI, but
AI.
Artificial intelligence.
virtual reality has been around for.
So artificial intelligence. Artificial what?
Intelligence. AI.
Artificial intelligence is Google. That's what it is. You put a word and he knows the rest. That's already exists for years. No, he's talking about something that you can actually talk to players and famous people, have a conversation. It's mamash like you go into an imaginary world.
All those glasses that we
I told him anyway half of the people in the world are living in high imagination thanks to their drugs and pills. Now you want the other half also to be in illusionary world? What's going to happen to this world? Something inside me say that in 10 years from now we will be missing even Sleepy Joe, who doesn't remember his name. Because the president in 8 years from now probably going to be somebody even worse. Because it only get worse. It doesn't get any better. Anyway, so now, so Hashem say you'll be able to do the Pesach next month. Those who could have done it now and did not do it, Chas v'Shalom, they get the punishment of karet. Huh? What happened if you're honest? If you're honest, you're honest. If you have a reason that you really couldn't do it, for instance, a person fainted or was sick or anything like that, then obviously is not going to get the punishment of someone who could have done it and did not decide not to do it. Next thing, we have now the rule of the trumpets. Trumpets. The trumpets, you use it for few things. Whenever you need to move, when the cloud begins to move, they blow the trumpets. Everybody knows right away to collect their belongings and get ready for the meal. Trumpets is also when you go to a war. It gives the order, the signal to begin to attack. Trumpets is also when there's tragedies. You want to fast. You want to hear the word of the leader, so you blow the trumpets. It's like siren. Time of trouble. So those trumpets, they have significance. You use it. It also has to be mikshachat, one piece, not few pieces assembled. What do you make the trumpets from? What material? Huh? Silver. Silver. Why not gold? Exactly. Which one is more judgment, gold or silver? Gold. Gold reminds about the horrible sin of the golden calf. As much as you can avoid the gold, that's what you should do. Silver, it's more mercy. If somebody wants to make a menorah from gold, it's much more expensive. Silver menorah is about $2,000. Nice one. Gold could be $30,000, $40,000. Just the amount of gold, very expensive. It's $2,000 an ounce almost. Just the material, the weight, could be 10, 15 ounces. It's right there, $30,000. Forget about the work and putting it together. But it would not be as good as the silver. You can pay $35,000. It's not as good as $2,000 sometimes. You just have to know what you're doing. Next thing. Oh, when you come to a war to attack your enemies, you blow the trumpets. What's the purpose of blowing the trumpets? Who knows?
Scared. People do too.
Listen carefully. והראותם בחצוצרות ונזכרתם לפני השם אלוהיכם ונושעתם מאויביכם. Who understood what I just read? מה זה ונזכרתם לפני השם? If you would say ונזכרתם בהשם, then what it would mean? You will remember your God, meaning you forgot him. Time to remember. You're going to a war, you better remember him. But that's not what it says. You say, ונזכרתם לפני השם. What does it mean? Who knows?
Hashem is in front of you.
Hashem is in front of you, I know. But what does it mean, ונזכרתם לפני השם?
You should remember.
Where are you standing before?
Who should remember who?
You should remember us.
Very good. Now when you blow the trumpets, you actually bring mercy on yourself. ונושעתם מאויביכם. You will be saved From your enemies. Meaning, if you don't blow the trumpets, you lose the war. Look how critical it is. What happened when it's tragedy? Rambam writes, you have to blow the trumpets. And everybody must participate in the prayers on whatever you do to avoid that tragedy, to overcome that tragedy. And anyone who will not do it is akhzar, cruel. It's cruelty to say that it's nature. What happened? There was a big pandemic in the world. Yeah. Wow, the Chinese, one of their biological viruses escaped the lab to freedom and killed millions of people and destroyed the world. Bad luck. Foolish Chinese. Careless Chinese scientists. By the way, if it's true, if that's the reason of Corona, imagine what's waiting for us. If they have biological weapon like this, thousands of different ones, if China wants to one day destroy the whole world, that's all they have to do. To shut the Chinese border and throw whatever they throw with their planes all over the world, and in 1 year the whole world will be dead. But there is biological weapon who kill you on the spot. Not 2 months later or 2 weeks later. On the spot. Right away, a person after an hour is dead. He can breathe, his eyes, this, that, he dies. Terrible. That's the biggest risk in the world, biological weapon. More than nuclear. Biological weapon. Not only that, they have biological weapon which they have the antibody to it. So they can give to every one of their soldiers the antibody, spread millions of them all over the world, and give them the order. Boom! Do it now! And they spray it in the air, and everybody catch it, and it's contagious, and everyone died on the spot. Just like the next topic we're about to talk about. Everything is in the Torah or hinted in the Torah. You just have to be clever to see it. What's the next one? The next one, before the next one, Yitro, the former Pope, wants to go back to the Vatican. After he left the Vatican, he came to Yerushalayim to Yeshiva. All of a sudden, he comes to his son-in-law, Rabbi Moshe, I'm going back to Italy. Why? I miss the Vatican. Does it make sense to you or no? If that's the case, why the Torah even mentioned to tell us the story about him? One chapter in the Torah is named after him, Parashat Yitro. He comes to Moshe and he says to Moshe, I have to go back to my nation. I want to go back to my nation. There are two famous converts in the world. One is Yitro, one is Ruth. Who is better? It's a hard question. Yitro, his daughter became the wife of Moshe Rabbeinu. And he was the master of all idol worshipping in the world and gave it all up. And he came and he thanked Hashem in public and kicked all his statues to the garbage and stopped preaching to idol worshipping. Ruth, what did she do? What did she do? She was a Goya living in Moab. There was a rich man, Elimelech. He was the uncle of Boaz. Or the other way around. Boaz maybe was his uncle. Boaz was his uncle. Boaz was a very old man. 400 kids he had. No, 60 kids. 60 kids. He was 400 years old. I don't like to say it in a lecture for the Amei Aratzot. They're doubting it. But there were people who were living more than 120 years. Rabbi Elazar ben Dordaya, the Gemara say he got a reward to live 400 years. Thousands of years ago, people lived longer. Like Noach lived hundreds of years. Methuselah lived 967 years. I think Methuselah lived the longest life that we have written. What's written in the Tanakh? Methuselah lived 967. How long Adam lived? He was supposed to live 1,000, but he gave 7 years to David HaMelech. How many years Noach lived?
No, 600. No, 976.
900 and how much?
976.
Not more than Methuselah.
Oh, it says 900.
So you have now tonight when you're up, you check it out. Add his years together.
Yeah, but Og lived longer, no?
Huh?
Og lived longer.
Who? Og?
Og.
Yeah, he lived from the Mabul until after Moshe. Moshe killed him.
Maybe. Anyway, so what do we have here? So we have Ruth. So we have Elimelech. His uncle was Boaz, the head of the Sanhedrin, was the biggest rabbi. And there was hunger in the land. Complete hunger. And there was nothing to eat barely. So a lot of poor people came to him. Rabbi Elimelech, my kids are hungry, help. Take money, go buy something. Like this, every 5 minutes. He realized, I'm going to have to feed all the people, I'm going to finish all my money. What did he decide? Let's move to Las Vegas. He took his wife, what's her name? Naomi. And his 2 sons, what's their name? Machlon and Kilion. And they decided to move to Moab. After they know in the Torah that 2 nations Hashem hates, Ammon and Moab. They came to the world from Lot, that was drunk. His 2 daughters made him drunk after the destruction of Sodom, that Hashem burns all the gay and all the thieves. Burned them all, millions of them in Sodom and Gomorrah. Until today, when you do something that is sexually not permitted, you call it act of Sodom. Why? Because the people of Sodom, that was the way of life for them. Just like San Francisco, just like Tel Aviv, just like places in other places in the world that it's all people that live with their own sex. Same thing over there, Hashem destroyed all of them. 5 cities full of them, they all got burned from fire that came from heaven. It's written in the Torah. It's not some midrash that, someone made it up. No. It's in the Torah. And all of them died. That's it. Nobody left. Besides Lot and his 2 daughters. They thought the whole world is burned. There was no CNN yet. You didn't have on your phone to check news. So they thought, since everybody here got burned, we're probably the only 3 survivors in the world. So they made him drunk because he would not agree to be intimately with his own daughters. So they made him some drunk, he didn't know what's going on. They became pregnant from him, both of them. One of them, she was very arrogant. She had no class, so she called the son Ammon. Ammon means Ami. The boy... Wait, patience. One called the son Ammon. The second one was much worse than the first one. She called her son Moav, meaning Me'av. The first one did not want to say that the baby came from her father. So she just say, came from my nation. It's not so bad. But the second one, no, not from my nation. From my father, Me'av. Moav, Me'av. Right. So now, after that, 10 generations later, the nation of Israel wants to pass by their land. They don't want to give them some water and bread. You're so ungrateful. Thanks to us, you have life. Our father Avraham Avinu saved Lot from the kings. He was a prisoner. Avraham went with Eliezer. They fought them. They released Lot. Lot became big nations, right? And now you don't even give us water. You can never ever join the Jewish nation. No matter what, you cannot convert. But that's only the men. Because women, it's not modest for women to go to strangers' men and give them food. Hey, Tony, come here, look what I made for you. If she will come to Tony and say, Tony, look what I made for you, can I buy you a drink? What's your number? One thing leads to another. He will already be sure that she's in love with him. Check from every 100 men that a woman bought them a gift, or food, or anything. 99 of them would think she's in love with them. That's the way people are. Even a smile, she likes me. Forget about making him a whole meal, yeah? Since it's not modest for a woman to go out there in the street and give strangers food, the men, they never got punished. Because if they would go and give, then Hashem would be upset. It's not modest. So women can convert from Ammon and Moab, but not the men. Okay? So now, where is Elimelech moving to? From all the places in the world to the nation that Hashem is angry at, Moab. That's where he went to live. And what happened to his two sons? He went to college, like Moshe Mendelssohn, Imach Shimo, and his two sons went to college as well, and they met Christine and Christina in college, and they got married to them, and they converted to Christianity to make their wives happy. Great husband. A good husband should make his wife always happy. They decided to become Christian, and Jews saw that the rabbi went to university, and his two sons converted to Christianity, and they're very educated now, and they wear a bow tie and cigar, and he has nice blorit now. It's not what we are used to. And they all went to college, and 150 years later, Hashem killed millions of them for that. They all became atheist, heretic, anti-Torah. If I will show you some videos that I have what they do today in Reform Synagogue, you will vomit. Vomit. You can't look at them. As soon as I see the first 5 seconds, I feel like choking. They were all became Reform in Germany. 1,300 synagogues HaKadosh Baruch Hu burned in the Kristallnacht. All of them were Reform. I asked Rav Ben Porat, how do you know it? He's the one who told me that. So it's top number 1 in Jewish history today. I told him, how do you know that? He looked at me. Tamim ata. You're so naive. You did not have a minyan of Orthodox people left in Germany. Kulam Reformim. Kulam driving on Shabbat, smoking, marry goyim, 80% married to non-Jews. They changed the Siddur. Instead of Jerusalem, they wrote Berlin. They changed the Siddur. Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah. You have to see what they do today.
How come these kids still love Jews?
They don't believe in the concept of Pilegesh, I guess.
Yeah, that's discrimination.
In Christianity, you're not allowed to have a Pilegesh.
They're doing it because they want to be...
Well, let me tell you one thing. Don't give them good ideas. I gotta tell you something. Today, they definitely wouldn't skip them because there would be racism.
Right.
Exactly. Back then, they didn't care so much about racism.
They did it like that, no?
Well, the Germans were very big racists, right? Even though they had the university education, they were very big racists. Hitler refused to shake the hand of a black athlete. What was his name? Jesse Owens? I think he wanted to shake his hand. He didn't want to shake his hand in public.
It was the Olympics.
Olympic, whatever. They were very big racists. They didn't only hate Jews, they hated the black people as well. But they hated the Jews so much, they didn't have the head to mess with the black people. If there was no Jews in the world, they probably would kill the blacks. What do you think would happen? Because racists don't want anyone to live besides them. That's the way it is. Anyway, so now Elimelech went there. His children married Goyot, Ruth and Orpah. Elimelech, Hashem killed him. Boaz told him, stay here, support me. I have to feed the people. I don't have a sponsor. I'll do the spiritual work and you will supply the money, like Issachar and Zvulun. No, leave me alone. He went. He died. His two sons died. Ruth and Orpah, they're still not Jewish, both of them. They say to Naomi, we won't leave you, you're an old woman. Now remember, she was a millionaire when she went to Moab, and now she's penniless. She has no food even, nothing, and she's an older woman. So she said, I'm going back to my country. It's a big shame. I left here a millionaire, now I'm coming like a homeless. But I have nothing to do here. I followed my husband. My husband died, my children died. What do I have to do in San Francisco here? Let me go back to Israel. They both say, we'll come with you. No, what you need, go get married. Orpah went, she became pregnant, Goliath came to the world from her. Ruth refused to go. I'm with you. Your God is mine. Your country is mine. She followed her. She sent her to the field to get some wheat. Boaz saw her. He saw she's very modest. If somebody asks you, what is the merit that the Messiah will come and save the world one day? The answer, modesty of a woman, of a Goya, of a non-Jewish woman. A modesty of a non-Jewish woman will bring the Jewish nation one day the Messiah. How? When she bent down to collect the wheat, you know, there are two ways to bend down. One, you just fold your back forward and people from behind you look at you and it's not modest as a woman. Or you don't bend your back. You just fold your knees and you collect. Meaning it's like you're standing, nothing has changed. You cover with your skirt, whatever, everything is fine. The skirt falls on the floor, you just fold your knees and you... When Boaz saw that this woman is stranger, he never saw her before, there's other women works there, he got curious. Who is this woman that she's not from here and she's modest? Let me go find out. Who is she? She's a Goya. She came with Naomi. Who is Naomi? The wife of his uncle that died. The family. Wow, she came with Naomi. If Naomi brought her, she's probably somebody good. What's your name? Okay. Then he gave her 2 wheat dipped in vinegar, in chometz. He gave it to her. He didn't tell her what you're doing here, who gave you permission to take wheat. It's private property. Why did you even come to Israel? You're not Jewish. What are you doing here? None of this. He was very nice to her. And one thing leads to the other, they made a shidduch. Now you have to remember one thing. He had 60 kids from other women before. All of them died. Hashem killed all his kids. Why? You will never believe. You will never believe why. He said, him and his wife, we do not want to invite Manoach and Tzlalfonit to our children parties, wedding, whatever it was. Or when they had kids, Brit Milah maybe. Who is Manoach and Tzlalfonit? The parents of Shimshon, Samson the prophet. It took many years until he was born. His mother was barren, and his father Manoach was Am Haaretz. They did not know Torah. They were good people. They don't have children. Hashem sent her an angel to inform her that she's going to have a kid and she has to be holy from his birth and not to drink wine, to be like a monk, like a Nezirah. Make sure you raise him in a special way. He's holy from birth. Who was this Samson? Reincarnation of Nadav, the son of Aaron, who died in the grand opening of the Mishkan. He got reincarnated to be Samson. Badan, Nadav, the Ari HaKadosh say. Badan, Shimshon Badan. Badan is Shevet Dan, the tribe of Dan. Badan is in Dan. But it's also, if you play with the letters, Badan is Nadav. Same thing. Navat is Bennett. Same thing. Play with the letter. Yerovam ben Navat, Bennett. So why Shimshon Why Nadav came back as a reincarnation of Shimshon? Because one of his things that he did, which Hashem did not like, he did not think that any Jewish woman deserved to marry him. He is the son of the high priest, Aaron HaKohen, and his uncle is the king, Moshe, speaking to God. We are from the royal family. Who are you, Miriam? Who are you, Sarah? Who are, like this, 1 year, 2, 3, what's going on? Get married. It's not good enough, not good enough, not good enough. Died single, both of them. So Hashem sent him back in Gilgul, and what does he do to him? Mida keneged mida, measure for measure. What's measure for measure? You did not think any of my daughters is good enough for you. Let's see how you handle this monster, Delilah. She came, hi, what's your name? Shimshon, who are you? Delilah, nice to meet you. Shimshon, why you shook her hand? Don't you know you're not allowed to shake a woman's hand? It's Chilul Hashem. If I won't shake her hand, you know what people would say about us, the religious people? You know what it is to insult a person? No, but you could have said, I'm sorry, I'm a religious man, I'm a prophet, I'm Shomer Negia, don't take it personally. Tov. Next thing, one thing leads to another, he falls in love with her. She's a pretty Goya, drove him crazy. He tell her the secret. He was very strong. What's the secret? He has long hair, he's Nazir. If they will shave my hair, I lose all my strength. Because every time the Philistine came to capture him, 1, 2, boom, bam, boom, all dead on the floor. They cannot capture him. After he told her the secret, she made him drunk, she tied him, the Philistine soldiers came. He didn't know that she cut his hair while he was asleep. He was about to destroy them. He lost all his strength. They put him in a jail like a donkey. They tie him to a round grinding stone. You know the grinding stone, 2 stones grind together? That's how they used to grind. Peppers, wheat, whatever.
Mill.
What? Millstone? Millstone. And they poked his eyes. Why did Hashem poke his eyes? Because he was enjoying from looking in a place he's not supposed to look. Everything in life is midah keneged midah. Measure for measure. So, Boaz, in the end, lost all his children. Why? Because he felt if he will invite the parents of Shimshon, that's before Shimshon was born, they may have ayn around him. You have 60 kids, we don't even have one. Finished. But 2 miserable people at home, depressed, them dying for 1 kid, you don't want to invite them because you're afraid they'll be jealous with you? You lost all your kids. So Boaz was about to die with no kids. Imagine this, nobody to say Kaddish on him even. Until she showed up. And he told her, I want to tell you something. You are allowed to convert. Why? Because you are Moaviyah, not Moavi. The decree is against the men of your nation, not the women. Once she converted, he married her, and he had a son. What was his name? Oved. Oved. Today it's an Iraqi name. If you have Israeli, what's your name? Oved, you know he's Iraqi. Od, Iraqis, they have last name, private name. Yosef, Yecheskel, Ovadia, Oved. Almost all the Iraqi, their last name, Hillel, it's all private names. But back then, that's the original name. Oved, that's the first one, was named after that. Oved, what's mean Oved? Serve, working for someone. To who? To Hashem. Eved Hashem, Oved. Like in Hebrew, you say Ovadia. Oved, yeah. serving Hashem. The Arabs take the name Ovadia, translated to Arabic, it becomes Abdallah. Eved, Oved, they steal it from our language. Oved, Eved, Abed, right? Abdallah, El, Allah, Allah, it's El. So, same thing. Oved has a son, Ishai, one of 4 righteous people who never committed one sin in their entire life. Ishai. Ishai has a son, David. He has other sons. One of them is David. And David will have, he had a son, Shlomo. And from Shlomo, one day, will be a person from his descendants, his genealogy, that will be chosen to be the Messiah. So who came from Boaz and Ruth? The Messiah. If Ruth was not modest, if she would bend down in a not proper way, Boaz will tell her, I suggest that you go back to your country, there's not that much for you to do here. She would go back, and there will not be David HaMelech, and there will not be Mashiach, and that will be the end of it. So that's a little bit of the topic to get the point. Yitro is another convert. Yitro, unlike Ruth, that stuck with Naomi and did not leave ever, went back to his country. We must give him the benefit of the doubt. When someone is righteous, you must give him the benefits of the doubt. When someone is wicked, you're not allowed to give him the benefits of the doubt. Many speakers repeat the same mistake again and again and again. חייבים לדון כל אדם לכף זכות. You have to judge everyone to the favorable in a favorable way. Not true. Someone who's known to be a thief, something is missing, he is the thief. Someone who's known to be Mechalel Shabbat, you see him on Shabbat driving a car, you're not allowed to say he's going to the hospital, probably there's an emergency. So if your son asks him why he's driving on Shabbat, you have to tell him because he's wicked and he breaks Shabbat. You're not allowed to tell him, oh, he has an emergency, it's probably his life is in a risk, or he's taking his wife to give birth. This you only must say if you see someone that always is a Shomer Shabbat driving a car on Shabbat. Since you know that he's a Shomer Shabbat, you must not suspect him. You have to say, wow, it's probably a tragedy, let's read Tehillim for him. Because you know he's Shomer Shabbat. A woman that is always dressed properly, and one time you saw her wearing something not, you have to say, oh, probably she lost her jacket or something happened. For sure something happened. Why? Because she always dressed nice, meaning modest. But what happened if you see her 2 more times in 2 different occasions also dressed not modest? After 3 times, she has a status of a not modest woman. Prutza. From then on, you're not allowed to say, oh, she probably lost her jacket. Somebody asks you, we saw her not inappropriate clothes. Yes, she became wicked. She used to be modest, not anymore. We only go by chazakah, certainty. Certainty. You have a box full of letters. You check 10, 20, 30 of them, they're all clean. Chazakah, the whole box is clean. You check in the other one, you find 3 leaves with worms, you don't have to check the rest. It's everything full of worms. Don't waste your time. Chazakah, after 3 leaves, they all have worms, everything has worms. Don't dare to buy from this bunch. Everything like this is in the Torah. Every person has a current status. That's what it means, chazakah. What is your current status? If a person walks in the street without a yarmulke, you have to assume he's wicked. If he walks in the street with a yarmulke and tzitzit, you have to assume he's righteous. It doesn't mean you have to be a stupid, naive guy and give him access to your wallet. No, because the Torah says respect him in one way, suspect him in another way. You know, I'm not saying you're a thief, but I'm cautious. Can I stay in your house when you go away? Don't worry, I won't touch anything. You just met him an hour ago. What do you mean? He has a nice beard. So what? In India, they also have beard. A long beard doesn't make you not a thief. It maybe improve the chance that you're not a thief. Improve. But there's no guarantee. You got the point? Therefore, you're not allowed to give every person the benefits of the doubt. That's a very big mistake. You only give benefits of the doubt to people who earned it with their current status. Someone who loves to learn Torah every day, and you see him today lay in bed all day, you have to say, sick, wow, poor guy, cannot learn today. Someone who every day of his life lay in a beach with his belly drinking beer and play sheshbesh for 20 years, and he does it also today. So your son asks you, Abba, why this guy laying here naked on the beach and drink beer and play sheshbesh instead of being in yeshiva? Because he's Rasha. That's the answer. He's never learning Torah. He's Am Haaretz. Oh, maybe he's sick today and he needs the sun. If someone is a serious Talmid Yeshiva who every day of his life learn Torah, and today you saw him laying in a kosher beach. In Israel they have one day men, one day women, certain beaches. If you see him in the day of the men lay in a beach, and you know every day he's in yeshiva and he doesn't waste time, you have to assume maybe he needs vitamin D. Very important, it's going to save him from corona. You need vitamin D. Maybe the doctor told him, listen, it's critical, your bones are falling apart, you need vitamin D. Vitamin D you get from the sun. Since it's pikuach nefesh, we give him the benefits of the doubt that he's not laying in the beach by choice, is based on his doctor's suggestion. One rabbi went to a house of the people with his friend, and they serve him a nice steak. And he said, I'm so sorry. Based on the advice of my doctor, I'm not able to eat meat. Oh, no problem. Refuah shlema, Rabbi, refuah shlema. When he walks out, his friend told him, what doctor? You never go to the doctor. Which doctor told you not to eat meat? He said, the Rambam. The Rambam was 600 years earlier. He said, well, the Rambam told you not to eat meat. Yeah, the Rambam says if a person has a status that is not a kosher person and he serves you meat in his house, how can you eat from it? It could be donkey meat or treif. So based on the advice of the Rambam, not because he's a doctor, because he's a Rambam, based on his advice, I'm not allowed to eat your meat. You understand? So let's move on. So Yitro, we have to give him the benefits of the doubt that the reason he went back to his country is for what? He went back to Midian. For what? To do kiruv. Let me make seminars. Save my former student from the stupidity I push into their head. Make some brainwash. Come, Itzik. What? Remember all the things I told you about Buddha and this and that? Come, open your head. Shh. Vacuum all the garbage out. Read this. That's the truth. I finally found it. You got to save all the students that you destroyed by putting them into idols. Who's going to save them? You became the father-in-law of Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe say to him, listen to the words of Moshe. Moshe say to him, Vayomer elav, lo elech. I'm going back to my homeland. Moshe said, go with us to Israel. We will benefit you. Ve'etavnu lecha. You know Hashem is with us. We will treat you like a king. I'm going back to my homeland. Don't leave us. You know. You have experience. He's an older man. You will be eyes for us. He gives him compliment. Not that Moshe needs him. He doesn't know anything more than Moshe knows. But Moshe gives him respect. Why? Because he's his father-in-law. You gotta give respect to your parents and also to your in-laws. So, what happened? He refused. He went back to his country. And that's the end of him. That's it. You don't hear from him anymore. Right after that, the tragedy begins. The nation upset. Why? No steaks, no kebab, no baby chicken, nothing solid to bite. Every day popcorn fall from heaven like snow. Manna. Put it in your mouth. In a second it melts. You don't need to bite it. You don't have teeth, no problem. With your tongue, between your tongue and your mouth, it already melts. You close your eyes, you think about sushi, that's what you eat. You think about Italian food, that's what you eat. You think about steak, that's what you eat. Whatever you think about, that's what you feel. The taste of it. And it has another advantage. You don't need to go to the bathroom. 40 years. How much time to waste? 40 years. You don't feel heavy. You don't become tired. Your stomach doesn't have to work extra to grind the food. You are amazing. You're light. You don't gain weight. It's not fattening. Imagine what kind of life you have. They come to Moshe. Enough! Vaitzak ha'am el Moshe. They're screaming now. Imagine thousands of people screaming. Vaitpalel Moshe el Hashem. What do you do when thousands of people screaming and barking? What do you do? Ana Hashem Moshiana. Shir lama'alot esayna el ha'arim. Why Moshe screamed to Hashem? Because he saw fire begins. Hashem is about to burn them all. What's Moshe thinking about? I don't want them to get burned now. He begins to scream to Hashem. What happened? Vatishka. The fire went down. They called the place, how did they call the place? Taveira. Soon it's going to be Kivrot HaTa'ava. But for now they call it Taveira. Why? Ki ba'ara ba'em esh Hashem. Because the fire of Hashem came there. I want to ask you a question. Let's try to describe a scenario. You have a huge boat. You can put 1,000 people in it. From Auschwitz, all the Jewish survivors from Auschwitz, that they killed their children and they took away their property and they tortured them for years. They look like this tripod, very skinny, their legs, barely breathing, swollen stomach from hunger. They get on a boat and they begin to sail towards United States. They're coming to America. They will become refugees. And after a few days, in the middle of the ocean, they come to the leader, the Jewish leader, the rabbi that took them out, and he's taking them now to America. Enough! We are tired from this food. Take us back to Auschwitz. Take us back to Auschwitz. We miss the watermelons in Auschwitz, the zucchinis, the melons, the meat, the fish, great salmon, and sea bass. We're tired. We can't take this anymore. So the rabbi will tell them, excuse me, you have such delicious food. It melts in your mouth. You don't need to go to the bathroom. You got saved from suffering. What do you want? We want something real. והאספסוף אשר בקרבו, among them, התאהבות אהבה. They have big desire. They started to cry. Look at this, desire. Desire to eat meat makes a person cry. As much as I like meat, if now someone will tell me now, for the rest of your life, you're not going to touch ever again meat, I don't think I'm going to sit and cry. Cry? Huh? I'll be maybe upset, feel disappointed maybe, but to sit, why are you crying? Oh my God, what? I'll never be able to eat again baby chicken and sit and cry like this. This is people who heard the voice of God in Mount Sinai. They came out of slavery camp. They are on the way to the Holy Land. God is with them. They have air condition, cooling the air, protecting them from the sun. All the snakes and scorpions are dying before they reach the place. The land becomes straight. Man is falling right to your leg in your tent when you wake up in the morning. You put it in your mouth, it's covered with dew. You remove the dew, you put it in your mouth, delicious smell, like steak, without the biting and cutting the fat. Doesn't make any sense here? Find me one logical thing here in this story. But it gets a lot worse. Wait. It gets a lot worse. As a lawyer, you should know, you don't respond until you hear the other sides completely.
But no, actually, I want to go ask a question, actually.
Oh, go ahead.
I mean, if these were the actual people who actually literally experienced Hashem at that level, what is it, for example, for us, who basically sometimes are, don't have enough, for example, we complain. I'm trying to figure out, how, if you could put it on a scale, I mean, how bad it is when we complain. If they complain.
Why do you think the Torah told you that they complain and Hashem wiped them out right away? Why this story is written in the Torah? Only one reason for it there is why this story is included in the Torah. Because it's really not relevant. A bunch of foolish people cry for meat. They didn't get meat, and that was the end of it. Why it's written in the Torah? To teach you about the danger about becoming addicted to physical pleasure and material. To the point that the higher you are in spirituality, the more Hashem is angry at you. If me and you would cry for steak, Hashem wouldn't kill us, I promise you that. He would be maybe upset at our low level, but he wouldn't kill us on the spot while we're eating the meat. Why they died, soon you will see. So they sit and cry, Mi achilenu basar, who's going to give us meat? We remember the fish that we ate in Egypt for free. And the zucchinis and the watermelon and all the vegetables and the scallions and the onions and the garlic. Now it's dry. All we see is the same thing, man. And the Torah says, "V'aman kezera gadu ve'eno ke'en abdolach." The Torah make a comment here. Make no mistake, they're a bunch of liars. The man is heaven. It's beautiful. It's nice. It looks good. Tastes good. Everything. Fresh. They can also make cakes from the man. There's ways to do all kinds of special things. Vayishma Moshe. Moshe hears that. Everybody's crying now. And Hashem is very angry, and also Moshe is very upset. And Moshe say to Hashem, listen now, this is the most shocking part of the whole Torah. Right here. Who would ever believe, if I tell you that the rabbi spoke in his shul like this against Hashem, you would be so angry at him until I would have to tell you, don't get angry, it's Moshe Rabbeinu. Let's see what Moshe say to Hashem. Hold your chair very tight. Moshe said to Hashem, why are you doing these bad things to me? Why I do not find favor in your eyes? Why did you put the weight of this nation on me, this burden? Did I give birth to them? Why do you tell me, hold them in your arms like a babysitter holds the baby? Where will I get meat to give all of them that they're crying to me, give us meat? I cannot stand them anymore by myself. They are too much for me. If you are going to do this to me longer, better you kill me now. if I have any favors in your eyes, kill me, that I don't have to witness this. What is Hashem saying to Moshe? He said to him, collect 70 elder people that you know that they are experienced and they can be supervisors. Bring them to the tent, to Oel Moed, and I will come down and speak to you there, and I will share from the spirit that is on you, meaning Moshe has the spirit of Hashem on him, and transfer it to them. And they will carry the weight of this nation together with you. You won't have to do it anymore by yourself. And to the nation, so what do we see over here? בדרך שאדם רוצה ללך מוליכים אותו. You choose the path and Hashem will let you go there. Whether it's a good path, bad path, it's up to you. But Hashem is going to help you to go there. In the end, He's going to tell you what you deserve to get, good or bad. Depends what you chose. As soon as Moshe said, it's too much for me, what happened? He lost, big time. Until now, he was the only king. Now there are 71 with him. That's, by the way, the beginning of Sanhedrin. So, Eldad and Medad מתנבאים במחנה. Yoshua is very zealous to Moshe. Why? What, they rebelling against Moshe? Moshe is the prophet. Why they? Who gave them permission to say prophecy? What were they saying? Moshe is about to die, and Yoshua is going to be the one who brings the Jewish nation into Israel. They actually had a real prophecy. Yoshua, instead of being happy, today, with the politicians of today, he would run to Eldad and Medad. Mwah, mwah, wow, I love you. Take a staff of cash. That's for you, and that's for you. Donation. Why are you so happy? You just told me I'm going to be the new king. He was so tzaddik, got upset that his rabbi is about to die and he's going to take his place. He ran quickly to Moshe and said, how did they dare to talk like this? Now it's the time for Moshe to get angry. Call both of them. We will prosecute you. The Attorney General will get a file tomorrow. You're rebelling against the king? What did Moshe say to Yoshua? Why are you upset? I hope all the people will be prophets. But they talk about you, against you. They say you're going to die. Whatever Hashem wants, that's what's going to happen. Now people begin to eat. They collect tons of meat, too much. As they eat, they begin to die. Boom, one died. Next one died. Next one died. I don't get it. If we will all go to a restaurant, all of us, and they serve us with beautiful Argentinian steak, very thick, looks delicious, smells delicious, nice. You cut a piece, you eat. Your friend eats, another one eats. From 100 people, one falls and dies. Maybe he died from corona. Who's to say that it's from the steak? Another one over there, boom, falls and dies. 3, 4, 5. How many more examples you need to understand that in a minute you'll be also dead? What's the first reaction would be? I'll tell you. We will all throw it, scream, call 911, and run to vomit. I don't think we run. We vomit right there on the floor. There's no time to run. Stick a finger into your throat and vomit. And if you won't vomit, why you faint from panic? Because you know any minute you're going to die. Imagine now, guy next to you just fell and died. Next one next to you fall and die. Your wife, Moshe, what are you doing? People are dying. Shh, don't disturb my fun. What's going on here? It's a big thing. I try to break my head to understand what's going on here. Person that love meat more than you can ever imagine. If he knows that the meat will kill him on the spot, will he eat it?
Gets the fish. Well, the guy wants to smoke a cigarette.
It's like this thing, you said.
That's exactly what I was thinking about. You read my mind. I was just about to say the next sentence. Unlike the guy from the cigarette, he know that cigarette will kill him with a bullet, he will still light it. Now I want to ask you a question. When you want to complain about your situation, it's normal for people. People likes to complain. But the question is, can I come and complain to you, I'm tired of my house in Brooklyn. It's too small. It's too noisy. There is not enough this. I miss my mansion in Beverly Hills. I had 100,000 square feet home and 10 acres and 20 servants and steaks every night and millions of dollars coming every week. They would tell me, hey, wake up from your illusion. What pill did you take? What is this nonsense? You're already in Brooklyn for 20 years in this shed house. We miss the watermelons of Auschwitz. Hey! You ate peels of potatoes. What watermelons? Your babies were dying. Who gave you fish in Egypt? The Egyptians torture you from day and night. What do you think they give prisoners to eat? If they lucky, puree. Mashed potatoes.
Oh,
Mashed potatoes. If you're lucky. Stale bread from 2 days ago. In Auschwitz, they got one bowl of soup and one slice of bread, and the best case scenario. That's all. They ever got chicken? Hey, Hans, you forgot the paprika. What is this? What is going on here? Let's go back to the beginning. Who is really coming to Moshe and say we missed Egypt, we missed the water? Not the nation of Israel. It's written clearly over here. Erev Rav. Every place it say the nation, without the nation Israel, without the word Israel. Every place they say the nation, it's Erev Rav. Later it says clearly Asafsuf, which is Erev Rav. The Erev Rav, they missed Egypt, of course. They were eating fish and snakes and dessert. They were not in camps. They missed Egypt. They got, every day they were eating different food. All of a sudden they get the same popcorn every day. They're not used to it. They miss their homes. They're walking and walking and walking, and they don't know what's the end of this journey gonna be. They got tired. Remember, they're not Jews from birth. This is Goyim Egyptians that Moshe converted. The problem is when one baby begins to cry, all the babies on the plane begin to join the show. Where does it say it? In the Torah. How did Moshe know, how the Egyptian knew to catch the Jewish baby? They were all hiding them, right? You're not allowed to give birth. They come with the baby, give him a smack. Hey, Ahmed, cry. He doesn't cry, they give him a smack. He begins to cry. All the hidden Jewish baby join the choir. Oh, you told us there's no babies over here. Arrest them. Bring the baby. What they do with him? Throw him into the Nile. That's why Hashem drowned them in the water. That's why the Jewish nation had to go all the way to the right, not going straight to Israel. From Egypt to Israel, it's few days walking, that's it. They had to go through Saudi Arabia, to go to the Red Sea. It's not on the way. I'm not going to kill them with lightning or with snakes. Oh, there's many ways to kill the Egyptians. I must kill them with water. All my punishments is measure for measure. All my punishments is measure for measure. So what you do to him, we will do to you. Everything is for good and for bad. You're helping someone, it's for you. You don't, you're going to regret it one day. Why? What comes around goes around. So all the Jews joined the party. They all began to complain as much as, as this Erev Rav. But there's still one mystery which I cannot understand. If you have huge desire for the meat and you finally made a bite or two and you see everyone around you begins to die, how did they continue to eat the meat? Can anyone explain to me this? Temptation, as much as you want, will not be enough to make you bite one more bite and die.
Maybe they thought it was a coincidence.
Huh?
Maybe they thought most people dying are a coincidence.
How can it be coincidence? Everyone around you falls before the meat and nobody died. Now everybody dying.
Maybe
Yeah.
They were decreed to die, and you can't, there's no control of your body the day of your death. Or like something like the day you have to die, your body will take you to.
Now you're going into a question is, can a person die even though it was not decreed on him to die? The answer is yes. If Hashem and Rosh Hashanah write that this person would live until next Rosh Hashanah, every Rosh Hashanah it's a new verdict, and this person decided to commit suicide, and he killed himself, did Hashem want it or no?
No.
He actually interfered with Hashem's plans for him. Next year was supposed to get married, and Hashem had planned to give him a few good children, and one day maybe to give him this and that, and he messed up the whole thing. Because in a moment of sadness or depression, he killed himself. A lot of people who try to kill themselves and fail, later wonderful things happen to them. Imagine how they go back to the day they try to kill themselves, and they say, wow, what if I was successful? I would lose all this and this. Look, happens to a lot. I know one person is the owner of a huge company worth many billions. A friend of mine used to be his friend. He lived in the same town with him. He used to be personal friend. My friend was not rich. He only owned a pizza store. But that guy was a billionaire. He has already a huge business, buildings and this. And he told me, can you believe this billionaire already tried to kill himself 3 times, and every time somehow Hashem saved him? Religious. Tried to kill himself 3 times. Just when I forgot about it, it's been 15 years since my friend told me about it, this person, this billionaire, sold his business, got few billions for it. The people that bought the business from him did not know what they do. The business started to go down. He bought back the business from them 20% on $1.
Wow.
And made it again an empire. And not only that, I met his son and his grandson, 2 religious, son and a grandson, nice people. And the son is such a huge Baal Chesed, does all kinds of things and bring food to the shul and organizing. So I was thinking to myself, not that many people know that the billionaire grandfather tried to kill himself 20 years ago 3 times and failed. So all of what I see right now is as a result of failing the suicide attempt. Just to show you, it's true that sometimes Hashem interferes to save a person. I actually saved one person from dying, from committing suicide. I walked into a place, the owner of the house wasn't there, the sister was there. I hear coughing from the bathroom. That was 1991. 1991. Yes. It was next to Kennedy Airport, Ozone Park. South Ozone Park. The house is around, a lot of Goyim live there. It's not a Jewish area. So a Jewish girl lived with her sister over there. The sister wasn't there, the owner of the house. And I hear coughing from the bathroom, like serious coughing and screaming. I come, I see she's bent down into the toilet. I say, what happened? I see she's about to die. I see a lot of pills there. She swallowed the whole thing. I call ambulance, came and saved her. Sometimes I think to myself, I wonder where this woman is. She was 20 back then. Now she's supposed to be 50. Imagine if one day Hashem will show me where she is. She has kids and grandkids, and who knows, maybe she's a rich woman. I don't know, maybe she became religious. Who knows? Maybe she died in the end. Maybe she tried again. I don't know. But if I won't find her in this world, I will find her in the next world. In the next world, the Zohar say, you get an answer to every mystery you had in life. Every mystery. You know everything. What happened from your choices, why you missed the flight, why this person attacked you, why this, why that, why you had a bad Rebbe when you were in yeshiva when you were a kid and he made you leave the religion. All these things that you're wondering to yourself, you get the answer to everything. And most of the things that happens to us is as a continuation from our past life. And when you hypnotize a person, you go back to his past life. It's called regression. And you can find out certain things that happened to him when the soul was in a different body. It's very interesting because in my Life After Death lecture, there's some pictures of people who remember their past life. And it's very interesting because one of them has a birthmark on his chest. And when they made regression to him, they took him to his past life. He actually said that someone shot him. They were working in some flea market, in India, Bangladesh, one of these places, going. And he shot him. And now when he was born again, he has a birthmark exactly where he was shot in his past life. It's unbelievable. Not only that, one case of hypnotizing a person and doing regression actually told who the murderer is. And the police went and started to listen and to follow the murderer until they found enough evidence and convicted him. So you see, it's very interesting. Not only that, there was one murder and the house had an autistic child, Down syndrome, in the crib. In the crib. And when the police came, back then they developed in New Zealand and in England a way to communicate with autistic kids with the computer. You bring the hand, you don't speak to the person, you speak to the soul directly. So he was only 2 years old in a crib, and it doesn't matter. You bring his hand to the computer and you talk to his soul, and the hand begins to type. And he told exactly who the killer is and how it was done. Based on that, they convicted the murderer in a court. That reminds me, when I went in one of the sessions to speak to the autistic kid here in Borough Park, there's a rabbi here that is Talmid Chacham. He has hundreds of books in his house. And back then, there was about 20 years ago, he had a son 12 years old, autistic, not Down syndrome. He was 12 years old, and I asked the woman who does the communication. She comes with the board and everything. I asked her, what's the most interesting session you ever had with autistic people? I'm glad I asked her that question. She told me I had one thing that I freaked out. What? I went to a house of husband and wife who cannot have their own children. They try for many years. They cannot have kids. So they say, why don't we adopt a kid? Let's at least do chesed. Someone told them everything Hashem does is midah keneged midah. You take care of a baby that is not yours, Hashem will give you your own children. So they decided to adopt an autistic kid. And the autistic kid was 2 years old. He's in crib. But it's impossible to communicate with him because he's autistic. It's not what you want to eat or what this. He's not reacting like a regular baby. You move the finger, he doesn't look at your eyes, he's in his own world. They started to get frustrated more and more with him, so they decided to return him back to the institution. They can't handle it anymore. And someone told them, you can communicate with him. This woman, you can call her, she comes with the board, and he's going to tell you what he thinks. But you speak directly to his soul. They got curious, so they called her, so she went to the place. She even told me in what city they live. I don't want to tell you who. Maybe you will know them. So she went there, and they told, as soon as she connected everything, he started to type. He said, I know you're planning to return me back to the institution, but that's a very bad decision. You must keep me by you until the day I will die naturally. After I will die, Hashem will give you your own children. In past life, all three of us were neighbors in one neighborhood. I was a Talmid Yeshiva, and you were two brothers who lived next to me, and you always fought me, beat me up, make flat tires in my bicycle. I hated you very much. And then when I died, I had my trial. And Hashem told me, you were a very big tzaddik, but you had one sin that because of that you cannot enter to your place in heaven until it will be fixed. The Torah says, Lo tisna et achicha bilvavcha. You hate two Jews, and you should have not hate them. Because of that, you'll be reincarnated to the world, and I will put you in their hands, and they will have to make it up to you for the hard times they gave you in past life. So how long you have to give me, it's up to Hashem to decide. But as long as I'm here, you must take care of me. If you return me back to the institution, all of us will have to come back again in reincarnation. She told me they almost fainted. They're already thinking tomorrow they're giving him back. So I said, and what happened? They kept him. Few more years. And after that, we died and they had their own kids. Right after that, one after the other. You have to watch my film, Life After Death. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes. Treasure. People remember their past life. Most of that from Goyim, from non-Jews even. People remember without hypnosis their past life. In Israel, you have hundreds of Arab kids, Bedouin, Druzim, mainly Druzim. Druzim are grandchildren of Yitro, which we just talked about. They remember their past life naturally. In the film, they interview a teacher in a Druzi school in Israel. They have 30 kids in an average class. He say, every class I go in, I ask, who remember his past life? There's always 2-3 kids raise their hand. One of them remember that he died from grenade. Grenade of Israeli soldiers left in a field in the Golan Heights, and he was a shepherd. He didn't know what it is. He pulled it, and it exploded and killed him. He came back in reincarnation again to the same area, Druzi. He said to his father, I was a shepherd. I want you to take me to take my flute. He had the flute that he liked to play. Where is your flute? What flute? You've never been a shepherd. In my past life, I was a shepherd. I will show you where my flute is, my Khalil. I hid it. He took him to a place, there was like a shed over there. He climbed on a roof and took the flute that he had in his past life. You have to see. In Israel, about 5 years ago, I was in an interview with the biggest Rasha in Israel. The biggest infidel, heretic. All his life he dedicated to make fun at religion, to destroy the religion. His name is Amnon Levi, Shem Reshaim Yirkav. Zchuto Yagen Alav. This Amnon Levi interviewed me in his very popular show. He called the show Panim Amitiyot. True face, which is exactly the opposite should be. It's all fake. I went there. He interviewed me for an hour and a half, and I already know he's going to cut 99% of what I say. But I tricked him. I brought my own cameraman. I put him on the side, and he filmed the entire interview. After 15 minutes into the interview, he realized. He saw the camera. He didn't realize in the beginning because I told the guy, stay on the side. So he asked me, what's this? I said, it's my own camera. What, you don't trust me? I should have said to him, if I trust you, that means I'm a moron. I said to him, no, I want it for personal reasons. He was thinking if to allow it or not, because he already knows his plan, that he's going to cut everything I say and make it look bad. That's what they do. But I realized that he's about to tell me, take it off. I didn't give you permission to bring your own camera to the studio. I started to answer his question. A second before he saw the camera, he asked me a question. I confused him. I started to give him the answer, he forgot about it. That's what saved me. After he made his horrible show, cutting everything I said, it looked so bad. But what did we do? Right away we put the full interview on YouTube. That's the real show. Right away over 100,000 views, thousands of messages, almost all of them secular people who are his fan, meaning they're anti-religion. Now one message was for him. Everything against him. Amnon, יצאת פראייר. Amnon, you're a real crook. Change the name of your show to פנים שקריות. As much as I hate rabbis, I have to admit the rabbi crushed him. Like you have to see it. So it's still on YouTube. You can go and see it in Hebrew if you understand. All the comments are against him. Not only that, a few months later, one of my Baalei Tshuva somehow met his assistant. And he said to him, oh, you saw what Rabbi Mizrachi did to Amnon Levi? He said, yes, from all the people he ever brought to the show, he regret the most that he brought him. After I was in a show with him, the next day, actually second day after, he went to a grave of the tzaddik from Yavniel with the yarmulke and read Tehillim. Can you believe it? Wow. Can you believe so? It's like Bernie Sanders. Imagine now we come to the grave of the Lubavitcher Rebbe and read Tehillim. What are the odds? Someone caught him with a camera. We put it on my Facebook page. That's the results of the show. 2 days later, read Tehillim. Who would believe? So that day, he told me, listen, tonight we're coming to review your lecture live. I almost fainted. Why? That night, I had a lecture in one of the biggest shuls in Israel. Huge! You have more than 1,000 seats there. And on another floor on top for the women. It's called Marom Israel. It's about 70, 80 years old shul. You know the way they used to build the fancy shuls in the old days? I say to myself, even if I bring 500 people to this place, it would look half empty. If you take a shul of 100, 150 people, 90 came, it looks full. But this shul, there's no chance to fill it up. I'm thinking to myself, what an embarrassment. They're going to come with a camera, the place is going to look half empty. Alach alai. I say, Hashem, you're not going to embarrass us like this. Today I need your miracle. I need the place to be full. And he said to me, I said to him, I have 2 lectures because I know the second lecture is in Yeshiva of Rabbi Daniel Zer. It's also a big place, few floors, and they put big screen. But how many people you can feed there? Maybe 500, 600 people. It's over there, it would look better because there's few floors. So if you fill up 1 floor, you won't even know there is 2 more floors to fill up. So I said to him, I have another lecture after that at 10. He said, great, even better, we'll come to both of them. I thought maybe he's going to say 10 o'clock better for me. I said, that's it. I arrived to the place. I said to my driver there, park over here, go and check what's going on. He goes inside, he sets the camera. He said, no. I said, everything good. What's going on? He said, it's packed. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. I come, I see 100 people standing on the sidewalk. Before we even enter, 100 people. All the people, camera, selfies. Who do I see? His lousy face. And his camera guy. They filmed the whole thing. We begin to talk. He said to me, Rabbi, I see being a preacher is a very, very worthy business, meaning he thinks money. He thought maybe they all pay the ticket to come. He doesn't know it's all for free. He said it's a very productive business. I said, what business? There's no business here. So I say to him, Amnon, God willing, in 2 years you will replace me. You will be giving here speeches. Everybody in the street, Amen! You had to see his body. He almost died just from the thought that he's going to speak Divrei Torah. Now they follow me with the camera. Now is the moment. I walk like 10 steps. You have to make a left to the big hall. I could never believe such thing. Pack the place, upstairs, down, more than 1,000 people. People started to sing. I saw his eyes coming out. The entire show, he went like this, filming the people. Then we went to the second place. I came to the yeshiva, 700 people, packed like sardines. I could not walk to the stage. You know, everybody sits on the floor. He looked the whole thing. 2 years later, just like I said, I told him one day you will replace me here. I get a link to a new show he made. When I was there, I gave him my CD, Life After Death. Life After Death speaks about reincarnations and babies that remember their past life. Someone told him that there is an Arab kid in the north of Israel that he remembers his past life as a gentleman in London. And he speaks in British accent, English, and no one in his village knows one word in English. Not his parents, they don't teach English there. He's a little kid. After I gave him that CD, Life After That, he got curious. Right away, he went with his cameraman to the north. You can watch it on YouTube. He made a whole show about this. He came to the place, and you see a little Arab kid, Druzi, speaking, oh my Lord, oh my dear, I can't do that right now. Nobody understands. His parents like, we have no idea what he's saying. They checked around. Everybody in town talks about it. He described himself as a 90 years old man from London. Tells about his life, everything. Now they give him an album with pictures. You have to see it. They show him an elephant. What's this? Elephant. What's this? Horse. What's this? A dog. A puppy. They show him a big key. You know the big keys they used to have in the old days in England? Those big gates, they have big keys. Not like today, little keys. Huge keys. He didn't know what the key is. The opposite. They show him small key, like the keys we have today. He didn't know what it is. They showed him the huge keys from the old days. It's a key. They showed him an iPhone. He didn't know what it is. Only things that existed 100 years ago, 70 years ago. Huh? On YouTube, you found it. So now you see in your own eyes reincarnations. In your own eyes. That Hashem took a soul of a goy and sent it back as a goy, but in different country, different language. We will finish with one thing that my friend told me. He's a doctor, and he knows one Jew that married a non-Jewish woman, and they have 2 kids, and the one of the kids remember his past life. So the mother, which is not Jewish mother, the father is Jewish, the mother is not Jewish. According to the Torah, if you marry a non-Jewish woman, your kids are not Jewish. Doesn't matter. You have no connection to them. Only biological connection, but nothing spiritual. So the mother is very, very aggressive. Like a bossy. And the kid is suffering from her. So he told me, you're not going to believe what happened the other day. The mother was yelling at him, And he said to her, I don't like you. I hate you. I want to go to my other mother. She was very nice. She wasn't like you. We used to play games together, and we put nice things on a tree, and we light the thing. So he's actually telling her, I want to go back to my mother from my previous life when we used to put decorations on a Christmas tree. And my friend is a clever guy, doctor. He said to me, I remember what you say in your lecture, that a Jew is reincarnated like a Jew, and a non-Jew is reincarnated like a non-Jew. That's a proof to this guy that his kids are not Jewish. But I'm not going to say anything. I don't want to get involved. But that's exactly it. He has a kid right now that in his past life used to put decoration on his Christmas tree with his mother. And he remembers it. And then he asked the mother, what is this that he tells you all kinds of things, my other mother? She said, yeah, I remember his past life. He tells me all the time things. They did that, this. There is a picture that one time we showed in a seminar, a 25 years old woman with 5 people older than 70, 75. And they ask, who is the mother here? Everyone looks, who is the oldest here? There's 2 old women, and 1 young, and 2 old men. Nobody understand the picture. He said, this woman is the mother. She is the mother of these 5 old people. She died as an old woman and came back in reincarnation. She remembered her past life. She started to search for her children by names, and she saw an ad in a newspaper. Back then there was no Google, none of these things. She saw an ad and the name matched her son. She followed the address. She went to the place and she saw him. He got a lot older now, 30 years later. And she asked him, did you go to this school? Did you go to that? I'm your mother. Ma'am, you need a psychiatrist. No, allow me. Remember I took you to the doctor? Remember I bought you this toothpaste? Remember we went here? Remember we went to the amusement park? Your sister, how do you know all these things? They started to investigate. She knew everything. She's the mother that was their mother from past life. She died and was reincarnated in the same place in England, and she located her children. You have to watch this film, if you didn't watch it yet, Life After Death. Few films is a must watch. Torah and Science, Purpose of Life, Life After Death, and the debate with a Christian professor. If you watch those 4, you don't need ever to ask, is God is real? Is the Torah is the book of God? Do we have life after death? Do we have reward and punishment? Are we going to be punished for not keeping Shabbat? You don't need to ask these foolish questions. All these questions come from ignorance. Once you watch those 4 films, to a clever person, you need only Torah and Science. You don't need more than that. To an extra clever person, you need 20 minutes from Torah and Science. 20 minutes. I have guys, 10 minutes. I show them 2 proofs from the Torah, what I show in Torah and Science, 2 proofs. And what happened? Immediately they said, that's it, I got the point. Nobody could have written such a book, only God. Why 99% of the secular people in the world are secular? One answer, ignorance. They never read the Torah once in their life. Once in their life. I always tell people, why wasting time? Just watch my film and you will preach to me that I'm not a believer like you. Watch it. No, what do you think? What do you think your film is? Watch it and then we'll talk. I put in my website 2 films about the age of the world and universe by Robert Gentry, American non-Jewish scientist. He take one by one all the claims of all these specialists, crush it to pieces and show you that it's all nonsense and the world is only a few thousand years old. I have these people who keeps going on and on. The world is billions of years old, trillions. I said, listen, let's not waste time. Watch these 2 films, The Fingerprints of the Creation and The Young Age of Earth. After you watch those 2 films, come back to me and tell me how stupid you used to be. I got the shock of my life. I never believed the world is millions of years old, but after I watched those two films, I just could not believe how dumb it is to believe such thing. I didn't believe in it because I know the Torah doesn't say so, so I follow the Torah. But even as someone who knows about science, after he shows everything they claim and how foolish it is, and he shows you how they scam everyone with their nonsense, you cannot believe that there are intelligent people that follow this garbage. Same thing Christianity. One very intelligent woman told me, you cannot deny that a lot of Christians are very intelligent people, academically and all kinds of things. I say to them, there are two possibilities. Either they never read the New Testament and they just follow it because they believe in it and that's it, but they don't know really what's written in it, or they are morons, one of the two. Because if they read it and they still follow Christianity, they are brainless people, even if they are doctors and lawyers and scientists and prime ministers. They have zero intelligence. Because to write such a foolish book and waste another minute on Christianity shows that you are a brainless person. There's really no other explanation. Because if you believe that a man that was hungry and looking to something to eat and he climbed on a mountain because he saw a tree and he follows all the way up to the tree hoping he's going to find something to eat, and he found that the tree is empty. It was figs, supposed to be figs, but it wasn't the season. And then he kicked the tree, and you should be careful that you should never ever give fruit. Someone like that can be a god, then you're a moron. There's really no other explanation to it. Because a normal human being, first of all, doesn't think God needs to eat. Let's start with that. Every intelligent person knows God can live without eating. Second, God sees from any distance. He doesn't need to climb all the way to the mountain to see if the tree has figs or not. Three, if he saw that the tree does not have figs, he should have known what I know. And I'm not God, I promise you that's not the season. The tree followed the laws of nature. Fourth, he should have known that if a tree follow the laws of nature, right, he should be happy about it as a God. That the world has an order. And the last thing he should have done, curse a tree for listening to God's order. Do you understand? That's one out of thousands of silly things that the book has. So how can you be intelligent when you believe such nonsense? The answer is they just simply never read it. It's the same way Jews speak against the Torah and ignore the religion, is only because they never read the Torah. If they would read the Torah and see the brilliance of the Torah, the natural knowledge in the Torah, the prophecies in the Torah, the secret codes in the Torah that are all planted in the text. Even with 1,000 computers, you couldn't plant such a book. Even today, with the technology we have, nobody was able to write such a book with equal mathematical skills, with thousands of prophecies to the future, with promises that only the creator of the world can promise such thing. To promise that a wall will never fall, ever, and if the wall will fall down, Judaism fall down with it, you cannot be a human being, because it takes a second to knock down a wall. When the Torah said that the Western world will never fall, the other 3 walls can fall in a minute. But the Western wall will never fall because I will prevent it. All you have to do is to knock it down. Once you knock it down, the Torah had a mistake. If the Torah has a mistake, it's not from God. God doesn't make mistake. If it's not from God, you can do whatever you want. Forget about the Torah. So all you have to do is knock down the Western wall. But it gets even better. The world was destroyed twice, the other 3. The first temple, they rebuilt it. And in the second temple, it was destroyed again. And on both times, they left the wall standing. The Western wall, as the Torah promised. Better than that, Jerusalem had an earthquake that destroyed all the houses of Jerusalem except the Western wall. Better than that, the Western wall does not have cement that hold the big bricks. All you have to do is to shake the ground a little bit and they slide on the head of the people, because nothing is gluing the bricks. Better than that, the Arabs built their mosque right where Bet HaMikdash was. All the Arabs has to do is to push the walls from the top with the tractor. It will make the whole wall fall. Better than that, when the Arabs came to build their mosque there, the land was a lot lower. What you see today, it's after rising it. So they said, if we build the mosque on a mountain, the old people will have to climb 1,000 stairs. They won't be able to do it. How we will eliminate the big height between the mountain and the floor around it? So there are two ways to do it. One way is to take 1,000 Arabs, which they like to work in construction, give each one of them a shovel, and say, begin to dig, and throw all the sands. Shave the mountain all the way down. If the mountain is 100 feet high, bring it down to 40. 1,000 people, they work a month, they bring the mountain down, and they build a mosque much, much lower. And the people will climb 20 stairs instead of 1,000 or 50. What's easier, to shave the mountain or to rise the whole Jerusalem? Which one of the two is easier? They chose something that is 100 times harder, to elevate the entire area around. If you go under the floor, they have a Torah. You're going to see arches that they build. They build arches, and they made another floor. And again, they build more arch, and they made until they rise the entire area. After they rise the floor, they build their homes around. They made a job that is 100 times harder instead of bringing down the mountain. Why? Because God promised the western wall will never fall down and never disappear. If they will shave down the mountain, what's the side of the mountain? The wall. They will have to bring it down. But because the Torah promised that the wall will never fall down, Hashem confused these genius Arabs and made them work 100 times more to elevate the rest of Jerusalem. How many more proofs you want? This is just one out of 1,000 that I showed in my films over the years. It leaves no doubt. Lack of knowledge in Judaism is critical. Why? Because you don't know, you will pay the price. You won't be able to say, I didn't know, I'm sorry. I thought that that's the case, but if I knew that, I would change. If I knew how horrible it is to break Shabbat, believe me, I would never dare once in my life to do it. I never knew it's so important to God. I never knew I will suffer for it for eternity for doing it. I never knew that. It's not fair. The answer will be, tough luck. It's your problem. Why didn't you come to learn? You saw thousands of people, Shomer Shabbat around you, learning all day. What do you think? Everybody's stupid? You're the only smart guy? All the generations of Jews from Moshe Rabbeinu until 200 years ago, everyone was religious in the whole world. Everyone was stupid. The Rambam was stupid. The Gaon Mivina was stupid. King Solomon was stupid. Rabbi Akiva, what? They all were stupid? Just you, the Israeli genius from the soccer field, eating nuts and seeds, jumping on his fence like a monkey. Yes, goal! You know better the Rambam? You learned 5,000 years, you won't know 1% of the Rambam. Who do you think you are? You have zero knowledge, zero intelligence. So you criticize the greatest people ever live. Everyone is stupid. They put tefillin for nothing. They did kiddush for nothing. They behave differently than you for nothing. You reinvented the world. Wow, what a genius. Come on, enough with this nonsense. The truth is, many people do know, but they don't want to continue to check. How many times people told me, okay, enough. If I stay another hour, you will force me to be religious. I don't want. At least you're honest. You run. But don't think that anything is going to change just because you won't know that you are not obligated to keep. You're still obligated to keep. You don't want to learn, it's your problem. One day you'll have to pay for it. But nobody can run away from the truth. The faster you learn it, the better you follow it. The better and faster you follow it, the better your eternal world will be when you finish this world. Any questions before we finish? Remember, next week, lectures as usual, Monday and Tuesday, but Sunday we have in the Kafkazi Shul 347, Ocean Parkway, a special event, Rabbi Ronen Shaulov and myself. The following week after, all week we are off. Check my events. Baruch Hashem, we fixed the events. The app is working. On the app you can see all the schedule, all the locations. Any questions before we finish? Yes?
These regression, are these recommended?
Which one?
Regression and incarnation.
That's a good question. The first question you have to ask is it permitted? Are we allowed to hypnotize a person and bring him back to his past life? The answer, there is nowhere that it's written that you're not allowed to do it. The Torah only say, do not communicate with the dead. Meaning to bring the souls of dead people and ask them questions, which is very easy to do today. You're not allowed to do it because it disturbs the soul and the spirit of the dead people. But there's nowhere in the Torah it says that you're not allowed to bring a person to his previous life and find out who he was. However, you should know that that's very dangerous. Why it's dangerous? Because let's say a person is 40 years old right now and is now married, and you do regression. You take him in time, you take him back 60 years in time, but he's only 40. That means 20 years will be his past life. You're speaking to him, now he speaks in a different language. When you start to regress him, now he's 40, you took him back to 30, he speaks English. You took him back to 20, he speaks English. You took him back to 10, he still speaks English. You took him back when he was 2 months old, he crawled on a rug, even though he's 40 years old, he crawled on a rug and he speaks like a baby. You take him back 50 years in time, he begins to speak French. Now you need an interpreter. You don't understand what he says, because now the soul was in a different body in a different country. After you begin to check who he was, you may find out what is the reason that he's not getting married. Imagine in the middle of regression, you find out that he's married already for the 4th time. Let's say you went back when he lived in Morocco. He speaks French. In Morocco, the Jews speak French, besides Moroccan. You find out that he was a Moroccan Jew living in Marrakesh over there, and he was very aggressive. He was married 4 times, and now he just got divorced for the 4th time. And now you know that in this present life, he's 40, and he went on 500 dates, and it never happened. He doesn't get married. Now you know why Hashem is punishing him. In past life, 4 times he abused 4 different wives. 4 different wives. Now 40 years he's dying to get married, he can't get married. Just like I said before you came about Shimshon. Shimshon was Nadav, the son of Aaron. He did not want to marry a Jewish woman. He thought no one is worthy enough. Hashem sent him back in the body of Shimshon, who fell in the hand of the Goya, Delilah, who destroyed his life. Jewish girl is not good for you, I'll put you in the hand of this Goya. And this Goya destroyed your life. So there are many things that people are not aware of. The more you learn, the picture becomes better by the day. People that I put in yeshiva a few years ago, today they don't have one of the questions they had 5 years ago. They laugh at it. People laugh. I tell you, I had one guy, he's a grandson of Rav Horvitz, the Shla Kadosh. 500 years ago there was a big rabbi, Rabbi Horvitz in Tzfat, in a generation of the Ari HaKadosh, the Marana Bet Yosef, the Al-Sheikh HaKadosh, or Rav El-Cubits that wrote the song Lecha Dodi. So the Shla HaKadosh was Horvitz. All the Horvitz, most of them Ger Hasidim. A lot of Hasidei Gur, their last name is Horvitz, from the family of the Shla HaKadosh. This guy was Israeli, secular, atheist. Ashkenazi, atheist. I used to speak in here, in East 3rd and Avenue Z, X, around that area. There's a shul that the Israeli took over. They used to make Shabbatonim. They give free meals, people come, they invite every Shabbat a guest speaker. I used to go over there. And when in one of the Shabbatonim, this guy was there. And he begins with all his philosophical argument. I'm this, I'm an atheist. Then he said to me, you know what? I'm going to ask you a question that I ask a lot of rabbis. None of them could give me an answer. If you give me a good answer, I'm willing to come to the yeshiva for 1 week. I say, go ahead. He said to me, I just watched your lecture now. You show a lot of proofs that the Torah can never be written by a human being. It had to be written by the creator of the world, and I tell you the truth, I cannot argue with that. What you showed here today, nobody could have known unless he created the world. But I have an idea. You call him God, I call him UFO. Maybe he's an intelligent creature who came from out of space, from a different planet. Maybe they are 1,000 years more advanced than us. You see, we are keep progressing every generation, we invent things. Maybe they are 1,000 years ahead of us. Maybe he is the one who created that world. He has abilities that we don't have. He knows things. He knows the future. We in our world do not know the future, but maybe over there people do know the future. Maybe he's the one who created the world. And he has a smile like this. Wow, I gave it to the rabbi. So I said to him, let me ask you a question. Let's say you're right. I'm with you on that. If there is such a creature, how do you dare not to listen to him? Don't you see, he knows the future, he runs the world, he created us, he decided who live and who died, and he gave us the Torah, which you admit that it cannot be one of us who wrote the Torah, only the one who created the world. How do you dare to mess with him? You had to see his face. Forget about the smile. His eyes almost came out. He said, Wallah, sichakta li ota. You gave it good to me. You're coming to the yeshiva? Of course, I'm a man of my word. You have to see him today. About a year ago, he came to visit when we were camping in a mountain in Ben Azmanim, in upstate. I said to him, Nu Horvitz, what's new with the Abam that created us? Smile. So you remember, huh? How can I forget a dumb thing like this? He said, wow, it was so dumb. It was really so dumb. But that's what happened. When you don't learn Torah, you are dumb. That's what's happened. Because Hashem said so. If you will be disconnected from my book, you'll become dumb. Dumb doesn't mean not smart. You can be a doctor, you can be a genius. Dumb means you cannot tell the difference between real and fiction. Reality and illusion. Look at the politicians today. A week after the Arabs butchered us all over Israel, a week later they come, Ahmed, come, let's make a party together. How can it be? That's what's going on. You eat non-kosher, you live against God, you deal with the consequences of your action. Bezrat Hashem, we'll see you next Sunday over here.
No, tomorrow.
Tomorrow in Queens. Don't forget the lecture of Monday, because I was in LA. We postponed it to tomorrow 8 p.m. in Fresh Meadow. Please download my app. Baruch Hashem, after I announced it last week, over 150 people download it. Download it again today. You won't regret it. Baruch Adonai Leolam. Amen ve'amen.